Thanks so much for hanging out with us on the ADC Podcast today. If you've enjoyed the show and want to help us keep these awesome industry chats going, we would love for you to join our Patreon family. Your support means the world to us. This keeps the lights on for future episodes and lets us bring even more fun creative content. Every bit helps, and we are so grateful to have you in our corner. Simply scan the QR code above to check out our exciting Patreon membership tiers. Each level offers fantastic perks, including early access to interviews, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and even opportunities to join us on camera as a guest on the podcast. We would love to have you join our community and be part of the show. Well, hello there. I'm Andres Isaac Alvarez, and if you're into television animation and streaming, you might know me as a director, storyboard artist, or storyboard revisionist. Now, after 25 years in this vibrant industry, I'm thrilled to be the lead instructor for storyboarding for streaming. I've even chipped in on a bunch of productions with my story contributions along the way. What makes my program awesome, you might ask? I've actually been in the trenches and know my stuff. You'll pick up on-the-job skills like animatic editing, extractions, merging, 3D camera work, and advanced storyboard revision techniques. Plus, you'll master the art of the studio test and learn to maximize your skills using Adobe Photoshop and Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. But it's not just about the technical stuff. We really dig into the art of storytelling, covering everything from composition, thumbnailing, shot structure, camera angles, and cutting patterns. With every sequence, you'll get live critiques and detailed feedback, helping you grow and thrive as an artist. Ready to learn from the best? Welcome everyone to the ADC Podcast. I am your host, Andres Alvarez. I will be going by Andy through the entire interview because I never like to force anyone to have to say my full name. But I am joined by an incredible guest, someone that I truly admire, and also someone that I think I have a connection to that I've never had with any other person in this industry. Shane Korn, we share a birthday, not the same year, but the same day, February 3rd. A good day.
Yes. You were the only person other than myself that I have ever met with the same one. So
right. I think I was 78. I think we're like a year or two apart. I was 1978.
I'm 74.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm 48 this year, so I am knocking on 50's door very, very soon. So a father now too to a 3-year-old. So believe you me.
Yeah,
my 40s are truly testing me. But she loves to draw. Oh my gosh! Anytime I'm on my Cintiq or doing stuff, I'm teaching now for Toon Boom, and I'll do classes and have like student homework and stuff, and she just like gets the biggest kick out of just like kind of standing next to me, sitting on my lap, grabbing my stylus, and just going in there and having a good time. She loves chalk too, which
yes.
Now that the industry has kind of slowed down a little bit, I find myself getting back to paper, getting back to actual things that will sort of like dirty up your hands. I know you got into the industry in the year 1999, or you moved out to California to start looking in 1999. I remember you had said that.
So just prior to that, like 97, 98, I was in Chicago. I tried to go to school. It did not work for me. Like, I just kept repeating the same stuff from like junior college. And I'm just like, why am I wasting my money? I'm learning the same things. I'm getting great grades. It's not helping me. I met someone in Chicago we moved to California together. She and I went to Yosemite and lived and worked in Yosemite, um,
Wow.
like in the park. And I was working
Oh
the
my gosh.
arts and activity center, so artists would come in every 2 weeks or a week, whatever it was. And then I had to make sure we had the supplies for those guys, and they would do classes. So I got to meet these like professional watercolor artists, oil painters, whatever
Mm.
they were. I got to go to their classes and learn how to watercolor and paint. I got to make some really beautiful friends that way that were significantly older than me. We're talking guys in their 80s, late
Oh
60s.
wow.
Really
So they were
fantastic
just
people
adopting you as like what, their chosen art
for the
disciple or
week.
like it.
For the week. And I was like, teach me everything. So when we left there, because work, the season ends, uh, moved back to my mom and dad's place for a hot minute. And I talked to a buddy of mine who was living in LA who was like, I'm working with this guy who does murals. I bet he'd hire you to do murals with him. You can make like $15 an hour. And I was like,
Ooh.
hey, sounds good. So me and her shoot down to Northridge, took what we had in our savings, and moved into the condo in Northridge, which was where everything seemed to start. Yeah, in
Everything.
1999. And I was like, let's go, squad. I'm ready to like become a professional. And I was
Can I ask
sorely
you this
mistaken
too?
right away. Yeah.
Going a little further back, did you have creative parents? Were you sort of the first of like, your family to show an interest in drawing? Like what was that like kind of in your earlier days?
Oh. Um, so my father was an engineer, but he was also a photographer. So when I was 8 years old, about the time I was eight, we had a dark room in the house. My dad was shooting and like doing everything himself. He was rolling his own film. He was
Wow.
printing his own photos. I wasn't allowed in the dark room. I was eight. I had dangerous chemicals everywhere. But
Was
my
the room
dad,
red too? Did it always I was
oh
like
yeah, it was like it should have been my mother's laundry room. And he turned it into a half of it into a dark room, so she was always having to wait to do any. So yeah, so my dad is creative in the sense that like when he was in high school, he had this portfolio. He got an offer from GMAC at one point in time. They didn't
Oh
want to
my
move him and my
gosh.
mom out to wherever, so he said no, went into the forestry service, started his engineering career. But he was amazing. He was incredible.
Wow.
My mom seemed embroidery, cross stitch. She says she's crafty, but she's really brilliant. She's really wonderful. Like she's always been kind of like flower arrangements and like it's mom stuff, but it's still like a
But
creative
still,
thing.
hmm
So my whole life, anytime I wanted to draw or paint or whatever, like there was like my dad would bring home stacks of like used plans from his jobs or just stacks of paper that like had like a small blurb typed out or printed on them that they weren't going to use, and he'd just be like, use the backs. And I had boxes
Oh,
and boxes of just like used
genius.
paper to draw on, and it stopped me from drawing on the walls when I was little, so that was great. Um, but so also when I was a kid, because of my dad's job, we moved every 2 to 3 years. So I've lived
Oh my
in
gosh.
like almost 10, like oh God, I want to say it's nearly 10 states, 40 something cities at this point in time. Like I've moved.
Wow. That is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we lived in North Dakota, we lived in Washington, we lived in Nevada, we lived in California, like all over the place. And then I've moved myself because I have this thing in me that's like I can't stand to live one place too long. I
Too
have to
long,
move.
right?
Um, so drawing was my outlet because every time you move, you lose all your
Mhm.
friends. Which is why I think when I moved to Los
Wow.
Angeles and I started doing what I did with everybody there, like
Mhm.
I latched on. I'm like, oh, I found my people. Holy shit. Like, you're my people. You never get to leave my life because you finally get my weird. Like, you finally
Yeah.
understand why I am who I am. And everybody else looks at me like I'm really strange or, yeah, so drawing was my refuge. It was the only thing
Wow.
that I had that was consistent. I wasn't great as a kid. I think I did it because I loved cartoons, I loved the shows, I loved,
hmm
like I was inspired by all the things. The children's books were a huge thing for me. Anything illustrative. Like I've always been into it. Art has been like everything to me always. But I've always had paper. I've always had pencils. Um, and
It
by the
sounds
time
weird
I
to
got
say in this digital world where, there's so many kids, just going to an iPad or just, immediately going to digital, and to just come from that era where none of that existed yet. You had records, you had, cassette
oh,
tapes, like everything was so much like in your hands, you could feel it. And,
mm-hmm.
like to this day, like I think that is the thing I miss the most when animation went from like traditional to digital, which I think you and me, I started in 1999 as well, which is probably another weird connection that we have. Um,
Right.
but I remember like that era slowly going away and going to work and not smelling pencils anymore, not smelling the pencil shavings or just
Mm-hmm.
the reams of paper, just this beautiful like aroma, when you'd walk into the studio, or hearing papers rustling and someone trying to find a scene or something. And then
Mm-hmm.
suddenly it just became completely sterile. There was
Yeah, I
just
was gonna say, just
it's
like,
just plastic and just yeah, you got the glove, and which it's
but like I remember going home and I had ink and like, whatever pencil I was using just up my
oh,
room and under my
what a
finger.
badge of honor. What a badge of honor that is. Just getting just stuff on your face, you're not even carrying. It's just just I loved coming home dirty. From it feels like you did a good job that day. The dirtier
Yeah,
you got.
I don't know. I'm oh, I don't know. I loved the digital era coming in. It gave us so much freedom to like make adjustments and to like
Yeah, that's
add
true.
color. Like it gave so much, but at the same time, I feel like it stripped so much away.
It
Like,
took a little bit with it. Yeah, like there's like
oh,
sort of a give and take, but getting back to, so growing up, you're going from state to state. You're continuing to draw. Like when you started hitting like say like high school era, was drawing something that you felt like, hey, like I could maybe do this as a career, or was it something that you felt like, yeah, I'll have maybe another career, but I'll still draw on the side? Like, what was that like in sort of your high school era?
oh man, high school is like not one of my favorite eras.
Oh, got it, got
It's so like so it. I can get really into it or I can't, but I'm just gonna glaze over it because
it.
just like
No
it wasn't
problem.
a great, awesome time. But I did draw. I had a lot of people who were like, "Oh, this is great." I did an early album cover for some guys who made music. One of them is he's a producer now. He's great. I love him
Oh,
to this day. He's a
amazing.
good friend of mine. He shouted me out on BET one time, and I was like,
Oh,
I can't believe this. Like, I'm like, my heart, it blew up. And like, just a few years ago, I
dang.
painted a painting for him and I sent it to him. It was really beautiful. But like high school for me was like, I think I can get into this. I think I can do it. I don't think I was really super supported. I had one teacher who was like, "You're great. You just have to keep doing this."
Mm-hmm.
Um, I later got invited to give him a California Teacher of the Year award, which was really fun. He meant a lot to
Amazing.
me. He was a fabulous teacher, Rob Aldrich, like just a good dude. Um, but like he inspired me to keep going. And then I tried going into college and trying to figure it out. I thought I was going to be a graphic design guy because I didn't. My counselor told me that like there were no animation schools. They were like unaware of anything. And I'm like, years later, I'm like, CalArts was there.
Right.
No one around me knew about it, but it was there. And then when I looked at the class who was at CalArts the year I was like, there is no way I would have been accepted. Um,
I disagree. I disagree with that.
oh, dude,
I
no,
I
I'm telling
think,
you, it was Shane Prigmore
I mean, some
and
big
like,
names, but
dude, no, it was huge names. And
I
I've seen their student films, and I was like, yeah, I was nowhere near this. I was nowhere, and it's fine because I applied a couple years later. I got,
yeah.
I got turned down twice, and I was like, it's okay, that's not for me. Um, So I tried doing college stuff. I took a lot of painting classes. I took a lot of color theory. Color theory is something that I'm really passionate about. I love color.
What state were you in at this point, if you don't
I
mind me
was still in
asking?
California. I was
Oh,
living in
okay, so you're
Northern Cal.
still. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So for that part of my life, I was living in Stockton, which is Central Valley.
Yeah,
My dad was
that's
working in
far.
the Bay Area, so like I would go to the Bay Area and look at graffiti with friends, and like we ran around it, did all that kind of silly stuff. I was a skater, so skating was really important to me.
Ooh, nice.
Um, but yeah, so I loved doing it. It was always something I loved to do, but like I to this day I'm kind of like, how did I get into this? Like, how have I ever like I probably have the least faith in myself out of everyone that knows me. Like everybody else
Whoa.
tells me how great I am, and I'm like, dude, you are so you someone lied to
Wow.
you. I don't know why you think
I don't
that,
think
but
so, man.
yeah, no, I'm learning slowly to like be
Your
like
resume
not
would
that.
say otherwise, so you
Oh,
definitely
my resume is a blessing to my person. It's a good thing.
did your like around this like I guess college area like were your parents pushing you to say like hey like dad's an engineer maybe you should go do engineering like that or like were
Oh,
you
dude.
being pushed in any direction or are they like hey like go with what you love or like what was that like?
So, so I took drafting through high school. Um, I can read plans, like I understand it. I know the
Oh.
line widths, whatever. Um, and like certain symbols and whatever. It stuck. My dad was really excited. He was like, "Oh, you're gonna go into architecture, or engineering, or blah blah blah." And I was like, I want to do cartoons." And he was like, "I'm not paying for you to go to college and do cartoons. That's
Oh,
ridiculous."
oh
And I was
wow.
like, "What?" And he didn't understand that you could make a living doing it. Like he was a very like he wanted to support me, he just didn't know how. Like he was like,
Hmm.
"How do you who does this?" He was like, "Well, write somebody at Disney." And I'm like, who do we know at Disney?" We did know somebody who had worked at Disney. It's my mom's
Oh,
cousin, who
wow.
who will like through my life. This will always crack me up, but like, he worked on Secret of Nim as a effects guy,
Oh my gosh.
and he worked with Michel Gagne. And
Wow.
so, like, when I met Michel Gagne, I mentioned my mom's cousin, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious!" And then, like, so Michelle and I became friends that way. So that was really neat. But like, Bruce sent me like the standard, like everybody got this like 10 page stapled thing from Disney, and it's like you should show life
Okay.
drawing, and you should show this, and you should show that, and it was drawings by like the nine old men, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, who does this?
Bill
And then there
Paul
was
in
stuff from
particular. Yeah, that
it was like
guy's a
Chenard,
beast.
like the hide the best of Chenard, and then also like Cal Artsy and yeah, and it was like milk calls, like yeah. So you're just sitting there going, well, okay, that's helpful, but like, how do I get there? Like, how
Yeah,
do I
what
get to where I
like
can do that? Because I don't have anyone in my life that can go, these are the steps you take to do this. And I feel like when we were coming up, dude, there was no internet. There was no like your resources were
now
a library, and the libraries were limited, and the information was like almost gate kept.
I had a good friend, like maybe like I graduated in 96 and he was an early adopter of the internet. And I remember every time I went to his house, he'd like immediately he'd hit that dial up sound, the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember famously telling him that this is such a waste of time. I'm like, you're wasting your time on this. I didn't grow up with a computer. Like, I didn't care about computers. Like,
Mm-mm.
I cared about drawing. I cared about comics. I cared about TV. I'm like, this computer is just going nowhere, and how wrong I was. But, life has a
Oh,
way
my.
of, humbling you in certain ways. But, yeah, I mean, there wasn't that immediate. I grew up in Los Angeles like my entire life not and didn't even really know about the valley. I didn't even know what Burbank was or that. I knew
Mm-hmm.
cartoons were made, but I didn't know how close they were made. I knew there was like Hollywood where like
Right.
live action was made, but I never put two and two together until so many years later. And I had no idea what CalArts was. I mean, the high school I went to was tiny. We had a surf team, that was pretty much our claim to fame. And it was just like, you went there to just, smoke weed and just hang out. There was no real like future in any of this. Oh, the docks. We had the San Pedro docks. That was the big, to be a longshoreman was like the job. Everybody was like, if you weren't going to college and you didn't have, anything else happening, that was the job to get. And I remember
Right.
thinking to myself, like, this just sounds awful, like there's nothing other than drawing that I would ever really want to do. And I remember like you, like how do you bridge that? How do you bring those two things, like your ambition and then the skills needed to, marry the two? And I got lucky. I had a cousin who was also into comics like me. We were into sort of the '90s boom of like Image Comics and stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
he got us a tour of which was I think the Rob Liefeld studio. I think it was called Extreme or something like that, Extreme Studios or
Sure,
something.
sure.
And I'd never seen professional artists in my life, like in front of me. And we walked in there, and I remember like this was like still kind of pre-digital. So they had a color department, but it was all with like every color marker you could imagine.
Oh
Um,
Jesus.
Seeing the inking department, the penciling. I mean, just like walking through and just seeing all these people so focused that they didn't even know I was in the room with them until they're like, "Hello, Mr. Such and Such. We have two guests with us," and they'd like, pull their, their headphone off and be like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you." But I remember thinking to myself, I want that. I want a job where I am so focused on what I'm doing that nothing else in the world matters.
Yeah.
Just what's in front of me. That like pure tunnel vision. Um, and I couldn't feel further from it. Like the amount of talent, the amount of skill needed to get to that point just felt like, oh my gosh, like a Grand Canyon of distance between, myself and that. But for some reason, that didn't stop either of us at the same, like even though there's like these insurmountable obstacles, for some reason we're like, I guess we'll just
I'm
keep
stubborn
going.
and stupid. No, I'm stubborn and stupid, man. That's just what I call it. Like I, dude, I love being a creative human being so much, and I loved cartoons so much as a kid. Like my mom to this day will like I could sit you down in front of the television for an hour and Mickey Mouse Club was on, and I
Oh
knew that I
wow.
could like clean the house and do the dishes and whatever, and you weren't gonna move. You were transfixed, and then you would like run into your bedroom and draw or draw stuff
Oh.
on the walls, or like you just had to make something and you were just
Mhm.
obsessed with it. Um, and it's no, I don't know, like it's not a mystery to me that I ended up like this. It's crazy
Yeah.
because like my whole life I've been chasing the idea that like that's all I ever wanted to do, and I don't know that I wanted to be an animator per se, but I really did want to work in the industry.
Hmm.
I think it was on like a Wonderful World of Walt Disney, and they showed like some of the nine old men, and they were like flipping pages, and they were like it was like Frank and Ollie, and they were like doing the acting, and oh, not just it was, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is a job. These guys get paid to do what? And I'm like, they draw all day. I
Wow.
think that's what showed me that someone did it, and
Hmm.
it blew my mind. And then I know when I was in college, I took a speech class, but we had to talk on a subject that we were really like passionate about. And I was talking
Ah.
about I did mine on why animation was misunderstood by everybody but people who do it. And I
Whoa.
talked about the amount of drawings that went into every single movie. And I think I was sitting like I did a whole like board of like these are the steps that you have to go through from design, like just the art part, just from design to
Yeah.
finished animation. And it was like over 1 million drawings were done for like Snow White. It's crazy. Like if you think of
Unreal.
seven dwarves plus her, plus every animal, plus every background, every drawing that didn't get used,
Mm.
every cell that didn't get used that they did anyways. Like, if you think about it, there's just an insurmountable amount of artwork. And it's insane. And I was like, someone had to do all of that.
I have a small side story. I got a chance to work on Piglet's Big Movie, sort of like a direct to video at the time. They didn't even have DVDs yet, but my first day was at the Frank Wells building. I think we were one of the last productions to get kicked out of. So for those of you listening, we are speaking about the 90 Men, which were a group of talented animators who sort of invented the entire like animation game. I don't think any of them ever could go to school for animation because it didn't really like exist in a way where it was like teachable. Anyway, those guys, when they were at their height, Walt created, this amazing campus for them, which later I believe got named the Frank Wells Building after Frank Wells unfortunately had passed away in a kind of tragic accident. Anyway, my first day, I get there. I got there really early, maybe like almost 2 hours early, because I'm just so nervous. I'm so excited to like be on this production. And like you, I think I had every Disney VHS that had ever released. I had studied every bit of the Disney culture, the man himself, and I got there and they had this sort of, you might have actually seen this at some point, but it's like sort of like a little archive / museum.
Been in it. I've been in it. I messed around in there. Yeah.
Oh gosh. And I remember I could see inside. Nobody was there yet. The building was still kind of dark. I went to grab the door handle for some reason. It opened. I let myself in.
Yes.
I don't know, like maybe that was a bad thing. Who cares? Walt's desk is right in front of me. His actual physical desk. His war badge, like the stuff he had from like World War I, like all this stuff. None of it behind glass, mind you.
Right.
So I could like literally like I just reached my hand. I touched his desk, which I probably get in trouble saying that now, but I had to do it, man. I had to just
For sure.
I felt like I was on creative ground. This is the ground that helps spawn, my love and passion for this art form. But I also got a chance to view. This is a little crazy. Before they moved a lot of these movies, like Snow White and all these stuff, they moved them, I think, to salt mines, like deep within the earth. But before that happened, I got a chance to hold some of these movies, some of these golden era films, like the actual stacks of animation, man. Like in my hands, they're pure yellow by this point.
Right.
But they had because they were done with a lot of color erase pencils, a lot of black wings and stuff. They still had such a beautiful shine. Like if you kind of just hit them in the light just right, that you could just still see the human. I couldn't describe it, but I remember just the goosebumps hitting me, and I felt like their soul, their spirit was just transferring into my hand, which was like going into my body, and I just felt like this beautiful connection. Like even though like we are separated from all these different eras, and these things all happened, years before you and me were born. It's like we were all there together. We were all part of this beautiful puzzle. This beautiful mosaic that's being put together through the different eras. And again, like I said, I think that goes back to the fact that like you and me sat in front of our TVs and just were like transformed into like, or transported, excuse me, into like other worlds. And I felt like when I watched Disney on those, I think it was the World Disney or saying, I felt like he was like kind of like speaking to me directly, like I always felt like when Walt was talking, he's talking to me,
Yeah. But I think that was his point. I think that was the whole point for him, was to like, I'm trying to like, he invited us into his office. Like it was, here's my invitation to show you what we actually do here. This is the process. And a lot of people, like when that show was booming and it was new, everybody saw that. But when you and I were coming up, I mean, I'm a 74, so it was like through the later half of the 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, like
Like a lot of that wasn't being shown anymore. It was new stuff. No one was making new documentaries about new studios or redoing, like jumping back into the Disney studios and being like, "Hey, here's the new animators.
right,
Here's
right.
this young cat, Glenn Keane, that we found. We don't know what he'll be great or not." Like that never happened, you know? Meanwhile, like they had legends being like crafted. It was insane.
Mm,
Um, but like what and like you're talking about like holding this stuff, I think when you
oh
get
my
it,
gosh.
like this is how I feel personally. I don't buy prints. I don't mess with prints. I love like a tangible piece of artwork drawn by a
Mm,
friend, drawn by an artist, because I feel like when you're holding it, they've left a piece of themselves there. The energy is still within the drawing. You can
hmm.
see it, and you can almost like if you're an artist and you sit and you kind of you're just like, oh god, damn,
It's almost like
God,
a
so
like
amazing.
braille, where it's
Yeah.
like you can just feel it, you can feel the imprints of,
Mm-hmm.
someone pressing harder in certain areas. I've also moved out of California. I'm now in North Texas, kind of like
Okay.
Dallas area, and my I have a garage where I still have my drawing desk made by a place called Cartoon Carpentry, which I don't know if you remember them back in the day,
Yeah.
but he made one of the last animation desks before he like retired. Anyway, this piece of furniture has traveled with me everywhere I've gone. I don't have any furniture left, but this one drawing
But
desk.
that these, yeah.
Yeah, and I put it in my garage, and I leave my garage open. And sometimes when it's not humid, I'll draw on it. I'll just go in there just for fun. And so we have a neighborhood filled with kids. These kids are just like it's almost like the Goonies, like times 20. Like they just packs of them, on their bikes, just having a great
Amazing.
old time. And they just come right into my garage and just help themselves right in. What you doing? Can I see?
Sure.
And every one of these kids are just transfixed as to like the desk, how it works, what a light box is, how the disc turns. And like to me, I just think like, wow, like here we are, like, just a place where, especially where I live right now, animation is not a thing at all. There is no culture here for that at all. But suddenly I find myself surrounded by kids just like me, who are
Yeah.
just so interested. And it's like almost like a magnet, like once you see it, it's almost like you want to keep warming your hand by the fire, because it's just such an incredible feeling. Um, so you're basically going through college, you're seeing, you've met your friend at Disney, and at this point, are you you've moved back to Los Angeles and are steadily kind of approaching maybe giving the industry a shot? Like,
So, when I moved to LA, I jumped online and there was a forum called the Drawing Board. It was run by Shane Glines. Um,
the drawing
I'm
board.
a dude. So I'm on the drawing board. I lurk like a dirty creep for months. I don't recognize most of the names, but then I start to really breadcrumb, and I'm like, once I figured out who was on this thing, I was like, I'm never posting art on here. I am terrified. It was Shane Glines, it was Glenn Murakami, it was Bruce Timm. Like, dude, it was like
The Batman crew, right?
Spumco, the Batman crew. Ronnie Del Carmen was on there. Enrico
Wow.
Casarosas, um, Cameron
Luis.
Stewart. Like I think Mike Mignola might have been on the board. Like,
Oh yeah,
but
I could see
like
that.
it was crazy, dude. Like the level of talent was amazing. And then I eventually got ballsy enough to like throw a couple pieces up, and a couple people who I really respected, one of them being Shane, was like, "These aren't bad." And I was like,
Mm.
maybe I have a shot. So I started putting a portfolio together. Um, it was the big hardbound little leather 8 by
Yeah.
10 that I took to the studio. When I dropped it off, they called me a week later and handed me my portfolio and a rejection letter. And the first time was like, I guess this is to be expected, but there was never any feedback. It was just like, thanks, but no thanks. And I was like, well, I don't even know
Hmm.
what to do with that. Um, and this was before I had started like reaching out and making friends. So it was just me and my then partner, and she was not an animator. She was a painter. She didn't get the process. She didn't understand it. She was always like, "You're always on the board. You're always talking." And I'm like, "I'm trying to figure out how to do this." And I'm like, "But I have all these rejection letters, so at least I'm trying."
Right, exactly.
Um, and I eventually got to a point where I was just like, I need to make friends. Like I really like need to make like I need to know people who do this. And one weekend in November, I was like, and this is so like I say this stuff, and it like I hear it now, and I'm like, what were you thinking, you psychopath? I invited whoever wanted to come to my house, and I posted my address. Come
Wow.
hang out. I'm gonna get beers. We'll have pizza, and we'll draw, dude. And uh, 5 people showed up, and
Wow.
2 of them to this day are well, actually 3 of them are like some of my best friends. I consider them family. Um, I
Amazing.
I I do not love people more than these people in my life. They are my Sketchbook Sessions family, and that was the spawning of the Sketchbook Sessions. The second one that we had, like 20 people showed up. The next one was like 32 people showed up. It, I was meeting
Unreal.
people that were like me that wanted to do this, and some of us had never worked, and some of us had worked. Some of us were working. But most of us just like were like we love doing this. We met on the drawing board, so we kind of know each other. Like we know
Yeah,
online
right.
us. Um, but like when I think about that, I'm like, you invited total strangers to your house. Like you didn't know these people.
Anybody could have shown up, to be
Come
fair,
on.
but
But also, dude, people that I didn't expect that I was like crazy about their art or like um
wildfire.
it's
That's the way I
it's
would explain it.
insane. It's insane who
Wildfire.
showed up at my house. Like before I left the Northridge place, we had a big session. Uh, do you know Katie Rice?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
Katie was on the board, and Katie came one night, and she goes, "Hey, I hope you don't mind. I brought my friend John," and it was John Chrisfalusi, and I'm
Dang.
like,
Okay.
and
Hi.
John comes in and he's got a bag full of like VHS tapes, and he's like, "Hey, have you guys ever seen Ripping Friends?" And like we put Ripping Friends on, and he was like tearing people's artwork apart all night. He was, oh God, what a horrible human. But like, whatever. I mean, like, whatever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
sad that, because
yeah,
he's definitely a person I had, been influenced by in terms of like Ren and Stimpy and that Mighty Mouse era, is so
yeah. But
incredible.
also, how do you separate the art from the artist
Yeah,
and the creative? And that's kind of where I sit on him.
yeah.
But at that same session, um, Michel Gagne showed up. So so I used to do these big paper drawings on my table where I'd get butcher paper rolls out, and everybody would
Oh,
draw on them. And I still have the one, and it's got like these crazy like monster ducks that Michel drew, and
oh my
like
gosh.
it's just chocked full of stuff that everybody that ever came through every party like jumped on the big table and they did stuff. And
Wow.
eventually I ended up giving a bunch of them away when I moved, but like yeah, that went on for.
When the documentary is made, not if, but when, you got to have like a companion book, that comes with it. And if you have any of those existing butcher paper,
Oh, I
murals or
have.
drawings,
Yeah.
just a pure book of just that era of just the most incredible art. Which I think too. Some of that stuff is so great because it's like off the cuff. You're not really like knowing what's going to happen. It's just almost like an art freestyle. People are just drawing whatever comes to
Hmm.
mind and just having a good time. And I mean, I grew up like not having a lot of people to draw with, let alone you having a party of like all these artists and all these like incredible names. I remember hearing about you through a student that I had. I was working with a student, and this guy was so obsessed with your get-togethers, and he just kept saying, "You have to come. You have." It wasn't like, "Oh yeah, this is like kind of this weird, quirky little group of people." He's like, "You have to be there. Like these are like this. There's something happening here, you know." And I said, "Okay, sure, I'll give it a shot." And I think I think I met Cheeks that night too. I think Cheeks was like a
Yeah.
regular, and
Oh,
I
dude.
remember thinking
Yeah.
to myself like, "Ooh, like who's this? Like you got something here." You know, this I don't know if he'd even like worked yet or anything, but I remember he was like in the very early. I remember too, like looking at his stuff, and I'm like, "Wow, this guy like just does his thing. Like he's not trying to like really draw like anybody. He's just trying to like." I still to this day, I think that's what I love most about him. Like he doesn't really conform to like any sort of thing. He just does what he loves to do. But
Yeah. Yeah. No, Sean was coming up from San Diego with Ryan Odagawa and Eddie Holly
wow,
and like the whole San Diego crew. Um,
wow,
yeah, and like I love that guy. To this day, like
oh
if he puts out a new book, I send him money. I'm like, shut up, take my money.
yeah,
I'm just like, just shut up and take my money. I love you. I miss you. And we're always like, whenever you're back in LA, and I'm like, man, one of these days we'll get back.
yeah,
I'm gonna give you a huge hug. Look at your kids; they're all grown. It's so beautiful. Like my heart, like I
yeah.
said earlier, man, my heart for my friends. Like the
Mm-hmm.
sketchbook session gave me these people. Um, I've always said I didn't do it solely for myself. I wanted to have a space for people to connect, for all of us to like realize we weren't alone in this, and that
Mm-hmm.
like you could come and you could get either praised or you could get eviscerated by your friends, and you were never going to leave with a sad heart. You were always going to leave going like, even if somebody tore you to the ground, you probably asked for it, and you were like, look, I just want to get better. I just want to get better. And to have your friends like repeatedly tell you this is what I see and you're still doing
Mm-hmm.
this, like I think there was a few years where that just wrecked me inside. But then I was like, no, man, I'm getting some of the best advice by the most honest,
Yeah.
and they love me. They're not saying this to be hurtful or hateful. It's because they want to see me succeed. I don't think that I would have
Wow.
succeeded in the industry as an artist, uh, or grown to be the person I am without having the understanding that like my friends are the people who have supported me and they gave me so much. And so now in my life, I want to give back to people as much as I can. I know giving the sketchbook sessions and like throwing those parties was a big deal for people. I'm glad that I could facilitate that. I'm more than happy that I gave people a space to tell stories about,
Mm-hmm.
um, or so many jokes that I have with so many different people that are inside jokes that someone will just say a word sometimes and I'll lose it and they'll be like, what? And I was like, I can't even tell you because it's so horrible that you'll cancel me. Um, like there were some crazy, hilarious, fucked up conversations at those things. And yet we were all friends. We were all going for the same thing. I know when somebody got a job, we celebrated it. When
Oh
someone
wow.
got put on a new show, it was like a really big deal and everybody wanted to hear about it. But I don't know, it was more than just a party. Like yeah, it was a party. We had drinks, we had food, but like everybody put their sketchbooks on the table and the only rule to it was you don't draw in your own sketchbook.
That was a beautiful thing. I love that everybody like basically passed around their stuff, and it's almost like musicians, like here's some of my songs,
Yeah.
and you got a chance to look at other people's process, like how they wrote or how they put their ideas together. And we need that so much. I mean, we need each other so much. And
Mhm.
I remember just thinking to myself, like, for all those years growing up, just like hoping and wishing I could find a group of people that loved to draw or
Mhm.
loved cartoons as much as I love cartoons or comics. And when you find that group, the only time I've ever felt it again is like early days of CTN, where it's like everybody's there. And I remember having this weird thought that like imagine if like we all lived here, like we all had like a place,
Oh.
little apartments And it was
Agree.
literally like everywhere you looked, you were just surrounded by, this entire art community. And I just thought, man, that would be like such, I don't know, again, that was kind of like a weird thought, but
No, dude,
yeah.
that's a pipe dream that I've talked about with the kids from the sessions. Like when we're all old and we all have enough, we'll buy a piece of property, we'll put tiny houses on it, we'll all be neighbors, and
We'll
that's
just
it for
all
the
be
rest of
there.
our lives. Like the rest of the world can fucking burn, but we're gonna have each other. And
Right,
and
right.
like we've been friends for like 25, 26 years now. Like
Wow.
like honestly, like these are the people I want to be old with. I want to laugh with. I want to spend the rest of my
Exactly.
days with. And because of this, because of the sketchbook sessions, because of all the things that I had to have, I did get to work. Like, I would never
Wow.
have gotten my first gig had I never started the sketchbook sessions. That is absolute fact. Had I not been unafraid, stupid, but also just like, I need this, like to say, come over and draw with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here it is. Okay, so that was that was 2000 when that started. So I'd already been in LA for a year. Um,
Wow. That's quick.
Rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. I was painting murals with multiple people in Los Angeles. I was getting a hell of a painting like education. It was insane. I've done stuff
Wow.
all over LA. I've done $1 million houses. I've done multi-million-dollar houses. I've learned how to faux finish and paint murals and do touch-ups in places where someone else has painted something and it didn't work out. Like all kinds of crazy stuff. It was great. It was beautiful. I love those people for teaching me those things. They're still friends of mine. The sketchbook sessions opened me up to new people that did the things I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, like we went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2003. We'd started our own little, like, we became the Sketchbook Sessions family. So it was me, Rick Cortez, Kier Bostic, Sue Katowich, um,
Jeez, these
August
names.
Davies, who was working at a little place doing stuff on like the Powerpuff Girls movie and stuff. Ed Reynolds, who's
Wow.
an illustrator out of New York, and he's moved back since. Sue's now husband Rob was like the guy who ended up like taking over the drawing board and like took care of that. Keith Holven, who is great animator, wonderful human being. I just like these are my people. We had our
Yeah.
own. We had tables at Comic Con. We had a table next to Steven Silver and Ben Caldwell, and across from Sergio Aragonés, and like that
Jeez.
Comic Con, we all had books. Rick helped me put the money up for my book because I was working at like Starbucks, and I couldn't afford to like even print my own like ashcan sketchbook. Um, I feel
And take it
gross
to
on the mic.
Kinko's, right?
Uh,
Oh shoot. Did
so
my internet go a
yeah,
little bit?
no, we did a
Oh
little bit.
shoot.
We're good though. I think we're back. I
Okay.
think we're back. All right. So
Sorry.
I made that. So we made
Do
these
you mind
sketchbooks.
doing that one more time? Do you mind just saying what you
No.
had said? I know you had, just in
Oh,
case
not at all. Not at
in
all.
case it froze. Sorry.
Okay, so with the crew, with Kier and Rick and everybody, like we decided to do individual sketchbooks. We did a group sketchbook. Um, my first sketchbook was peanut butter and monster sandwich. Uh, the, Super fortunate to have some guest art in the back that is far superior to everything in the book except for that. Uh, but we all put out our own books. We had tables next to Steven Silver, Ben Caldwell, Sergio Aragonés was in our row. Like there was just it was like a who's who, and I didn't even know who half the people in the row were. Years later, I would be like, oh my god, we're in like Golden Alley. This is insane. But through those, we ended up meeting Ronnie Del Carmen, who was on the board. Enrico Casarosa is like everybody was on the drawing board, so we'd
Yeah.
go to their tables, we'd try to trade books if they didn't want to trade books, we'd just pay for theirs, whatever. Um, like it was just like building community is what it was. So in 2005 ish, um, I was applying, and I had a portfolio put together, and I had a sketchbook session, and Ronnie showed up, and Ronnie had
Whoa.
asked me if he was going to do a lecture at Cal State Fullerton, on storyboarding, and I don't know that he was even at Pixar yet. He may have already been at Pixar, but he wasn't there very long. But he had all of his like, he was on the animated Batman, so he had all these like boards that he did. And
Jeez.
we sat in my front room. You could have heard a pin drop at that party while Ronnie did this like hour plus lecture for us.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, what, like, I can't, I have no words for you, friend. Like, I'm just sitting here going, I can't believe I'm sitting here watching one of my friends do this, and I had no idea who Ronnie. Like I knew Ronnie, but like,
But like
look
not
back on
the
it now, and I'm like, God, Ronnie Del Carmen, Inside Out.
Okay.
What? Okay, I know him. Later on in the party, I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, I want to apply. And like, I talked to Lynn Naylor at Comic Con, and she was like, my stuff's pretty good, and like, but like, here's my portfolio. I'm taking it over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really smart, and maybe it was, and maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But I got this portfolio that was like 5x7.
Okay.
It was small. And I was like, it's not massive. So maybe it'll get lost in the shuffle, but maybe it's small enough to where they get it and they go, oh, this is kind of cute. This is interesting. And I
Mm-hmm.
did like all kinds of stuff that I thought catered to Cartoon Network. And Ronnie looked at it and he goes, do you have more drawings? And I was like, do I have more drawings, my friend? I have so many drawings, it's stupid. So I pulled out like sketchbooks and I've always used, I have a clipboard and it's just full.
Oh, look at that.
This is the same clipboard I have had for over 30 years. It is
Oh,
wrecked.
look at that.
So I pull out this clipboard full of work and
Mm.
Ronnie pulls almost my entire portfolio apart and he helps me rebuild it.
What? Wow.
So I take that down, I put it in. He he goes, you know, you should probably talk to Lynn. Um, so I reached out to Lynn, and Lynn goes, come on down to the studio and have lunch, and bring some of your stuff with me. So I walked down. So I don't have a car.
Okay.
So I jump on
No
the
cars.
train. So I jump on the train. I'm living in Chatsworth. It's a 30-minute train
Yeah,
ride. Whatever
Chatsworth
the hell
is
it is, right? Because it's way out in the valley, almost see me. I walk up, and it's
I
Cartoon
love
Network, and I'm
Chatsworth.
like, this is Mecca. This is everything to me. This is the building I want to be in. And I just looked up at
Oh
it,
my
and I
god.
was like, it was. I can't even tell you how I felt, dude. Like it was like there was nothing else in my world that I
And the
wanted.
height of its power too. 2005. I mean, you're talking like absolute magic.
Foster's had
It's
just started in production.
my
Kendi had
gosh.
been working on. He had just finished. God, were they just finished up Samurai Jack, and they were doing Clone Wars, and
Oh,
Powder had just started. Like there was so much good shit going on. I
what an
walk
era.
in, I wait. Lynn comes down, sits at the little tables with me downstairs, and she looks through my stuff, and she's like, "Oh, let me introduce you to somebody." So she takes me to, I think it was the third floor, introduces me to Sue Mont, who's the art director on Camp Lazlo at the time.
Wow.
I gave them my stuff, um, and lo and behold, I got a call, and it said, "Can you come down? We'd like to talk to you."
Oh my gosh.
And
Like that.
I was working at Starbucks. I was working at Starbucks, and all I ever talked about while I was working at Starbucks and doing murals was like working in the animation industry. And they called me, and I like, holy fuck, isn't
Whoa.
even big enough. Like it was just the whole world stopped. And I went down and I met with Sue and Joe Murray, who created Rocco's Modern Life. He's one of my heroes. And
Amazing.
he's like, I really think that you could do some of this stuff, and this is really great. And they introduced me to C. Raggio, who is their lead character designer. C was so unbelievably nice. He was just really kind, had really nice things to say. We chopped it up a little bit. We liked a lot of the same art and the same
Mm.
animation artists, which was like, hey, now we have kind of a connection. Um, I got a test. They
I was gonna say like
so
I was
I
gonna
get a
say like
test.
that'd be insane if they're just like, dude, just come on board. We'll go from there. But the test, what was
Never in
that
my
like?
life has that ever happened. But also, like here it is. I'm sitting here. They go, so this is insane. They give me this stuff. They go, okay, so here's this. We want you to draw these. This is stuff from the storyboards. Here's the character designs. Here's the prop designs. This is for a props position.
Okay.
Take it home. Joe tells me he wants like 10 drawings. He shows me the ones he wants. I turned around. I went home. I drew until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Murdering. It just like nonstop. I drew all day, all night. I went back the next day with a stack of drawings, and I was like, I did it. And they looked through them. Joe and Sue looked through them, and then it was like, you have a week. Just take the week. These are great, but like they could be here's yeah. So I was so happy that they didn't just go, all right, well, fuck off. You have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
I went home and I looked at the stuff, and I think Joe gave me some pointers and Sue told me some stuff that this is where you're kind of missing. I took it so seriously, and I went home and I know that Craig Kellman helped develop the pencil style that they were using to draw the characters. It's kind of like that. It's this like side pencil like hole.
Oh, right.
So everything had a real thickness and a real sharp thin and
carving almost, right? Like carving with that.
Yeah, and C had it down. Like he was beautiful, and I was like, "Holy fuck, I got to figure this out." So I spent like 2 days trying to draw like that, making myself insane.
May I ask a quick question? In that time frame, was everything still on paper, or were you expected to go? Okay, so you were still
on paper.
That pocket. You're very close to that transition.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to say like 09 or even sooner. Things were already starting to transition digital, but I was very curious to know if like you were still within that like pocket of actually like seeing stuff on paper and pencil and oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think I had my first Wacom stylus. It was one of like the 6x9 blue.
The bamboo. Where it's like you drew here, but your head was like looking. And it was just like the worst. For me, it was. I could never.
6 months of learning hand-eye coordination all over again, like you were a baby.
Yeah, it was like drawing with your left hand almost, But
it was insane. It was insane. But I did all this drawing. I went back. I turned it all in. And I was working. I was on a shift at Starbucks one day, and I was pretty miserable. It was just like we had a change in management. Things were changing, whatever. And I was just like, man, I did the test, and like I got in the building. Like, I'm so proud of myself. I got in the building. They asked me to come back. They asked me to do this thing. I felt like really accomplished. And I got a call, and I was like, my phone is ringing, and I looked at the number, and I knew immediately what it was. And I was like, this is either going to be really good, or I'm going to be crying at work.
Oh my gosh!
I was shaking. I went outside and I sat on a rail, and it was Sharina Carlson. And she goes, hi, this is Sharina Carlson. I'm the producer for Camp Lazlo with Joe Murray. And so we've looked at your stuff, and we really like it, and we really like you, and we were wondering if you would like to be part of the crew.
Oh my gosh. I got goosebumps.
I immediately was like, holy fuck. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I absolutely lost myself. And then I pulled it together, and she goes, when can you start? And I said, when do you need me? And she goes, well, do you need to give somebody 2 weeks? And I was like, I think I can get away with a week.
Wow. And
I bailed on Starbucks so hard. Like, I was just like, I know the schedule's out. Cartoon Network called. I'm out.
What was it like? Where like, I'm sure you had to go back to your shift after that. Like, did your coworkers, were they like, dude, what just happened? Like what you have this glow to you. What is going on?
So all of my coworkers knew that was my goal. Like we all had another goal, right? You don't work at Starbucks and go, this is it for me.
Yeah. Barista of the century.
Venti mocha frappuccinos for the rest of my life. No, I mean, we all wanted to do different things. Some of us were in school, some of us weren't. This was always my goal. I was really lucky. I worked in the Chatsworth store. We had a lot of film people come in all the time and a lot of other kind of like entertainment people. So I was always talking to
By the
people
way, I
about it.
love Chatsworth, by the way. Like, my wife worked in Chatsworth, and I don't know if you ever heard of a place called Uncle Ernie's Pizza, but it was like one of the best pizza spots that still to this
Yes.
day, whenever I go to LA, I'm like, we got to get down to Chatsworth because I definitely got to get some of that Uncle Ernie's pizza. I can't get great Mexican food where I live now either, so that's another thing. When I get down to LA, I'm always hitting my Mexican food spots, but
Oh
I
no,
just
dude.
can't.
Unless you're within like 3 hours of Los Angeles, it's really hard, I feel like.
Yeah, like, God bless them. The barbecue out here is phenomenal. Like, nothing I've ever tasted before, but yeah, it's hard, but I just can't believe this. You had this dream. You had, you know, almost foreshadowed your own life. You talked about like applying places, getting no feedback, just a rejection letter, creating sketchbook sessions, and literally getting the feedback that you had been craving. Like, you almost
Right.
kind of manifested it where you're like, hey, I'm not getting this, so I need to create it. I need to just like grab something out of thin air and make something. So I think that is just such an incredible thing. And I think for anyone listening, I mean, there's no rules to this. There's no rules to like how you get in. There's no right or wrong way to achieve a dream. And I love that, it's always darkest before the dawn. You're working at this job that, you're probably not too happy, being there. Like you said, management's changing over and all this stuff. So you're sort of at that kind of like point in your life. You're like, I really need this, I really need something to change or to feel like it's going to go my
Mm-hmm.
way. And suddenly I hear my dad, God rest his soul. I hear him always say, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
here you are. Your dream has now materialized. I personally, by the way, too, Cartoon Network was a studio I died to want to work there. I never in my career got to work there. So I am so jealous because not only did you work there in one of the greatest eras in Cartoon Network.
Oh, I I
Can
got
you?
the golden ticket. I was the luckiest boy in the world.
Oh,
I won the internet. All your bases belonged to me. Like you say it, I did it. Like that was it for me. I was like, okay, I'm here.
God bless all the other studios, but Cartoon Network, man, that just was like the
But dude,
place.
like
The
they had
place,
just they
man.
had just rolled off of Powerpuff Girls, which I watched all through like
Oh,
forever. I watched every season. Like Samurai Jack was like my shit. Like
Samurai
Gendy
Jack.
Tartakovsky to this day can do no wrong for me. That man is a genius. Um,
Oh, that
but
building, the building alone. I tell
oh, it broke
people,
my heart. It broke my
you
heart
just
when it
don't
left that building.
understand. You just don't understand. Like, I got to go to lunch one time and I got to walk into that building. And I was lucky enough to be allowed to go into that stairwell where
Mm-hmm.
all you guys drew on the walls in that stairwell. I mean, like the
Oh,
most incredible graffiti of, not even graffiti, um, character designs, messages, inside jokes. Like, I mean, it was such an incredible thing. But that building, I think, had that, and again the Frank Wells building. For me personally, were two of the most magical places like on Earth. What was your first day like? I mean, you give your week's notice, like your life's about to change. Um, what was like week one like when you made this transition from literally like one chapter in your life to now this new chapter in your life? Was it daunting? Were you scared? Were you like, hey, I'm this is me, this is go time? Like, what was that like, your first week working at Cartoon Network? Well, hello there. I'm Andres Isaac Alvarez, and if you're into television animation and streaming, you might know me as a director, storyboard artist, or storyboard revisionist. Now, after 25 years in this vibrant industry, I'm thrilled to be the lead instructor for storyboarding for streaming. I've even chipped in on a bunch of productions with my story contributions along the way. What makes my program awesome, you might ask? I've actually been in the trenches and know my stuff. You'll pick up on the job skills like animatic editing, extractions, merging, 3D camera work, and advanced storyboard revision techniques. Plus, you'll master the art of the studio test and learn to maximize your skills using Adobe Photoshop and Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. But it's not just about the technical stuff. We really dig into the art of storytelling, covering everything from composition, thumbnailing, shot structure, camera angles, and cutting patterns. With every sequence, you'll get live critiques and detailed feedback, helping you grow and thrive as an artist. Ready to learn from the best? God, I thought my wife had put my daughter to bed, and I go by and they're both sitting on the bed watching a movie. I'm like, okay,
Good stuff.
I guess she's staying up.
There we are. Excellent.
That's okay. It's Friday. Come on. I
Get it.
can be
Get it.
the cool dad. Oh,
Yeah.
there's like this downtown area here in so I live, yeah, like North Texas, and there's a place called the Square, and it's like so so it's basically kind of like just a little downtown, whatever. And I'm going through all the different stores. It's all Texas stuff, so it's like saddles, like hats, like boots, and everything
Hell
Texas.
yeah.
And I walk into this like little kind of like small bookstore, and immediately the smell of like animation paper hits me, and
Mm.
I'm like, huh. So I start walking in a little deeper, and they got this nook of like animation paper, and I don't know if this registers on camera now, but this
Oh yes.
box of Blackwing.
Of 602s.
I'm like, what is this? What is going
Ah,
on?
yes.
And of course, I immediately like start chatting them up. I'm like, guys, like this is great, man. Like you guys
Yeah.
like, they're like, we love cartoons. We don't draw, but please, like anytime you want to come in and do some drawings or just hang out, read some books. Like it's just a little store, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, like there's something, like I've
Yeah.
just been floating in the ocean out here, and like I saw like a little beacon of hope. I'm like, there's somebody,
I'm
but
I'm I'm still searching out here for that for me. Yes. The one thing I need my spot.
right.
It's true. But
I just again, like when you were telling that story, I mean, I just felt myself tearing up because it just the amount of pain, I'm sure you had gone through, having to get rejection letter after rejection letter, to see like this, goal that you have, maybe like just sort of going off into the distance. I guess I'm being super dramatic with it, but hey, we're artists, right? And all the while, you're holding on, you're just sort of like this could all fall apart at any second, and it could all just been a dream, but you just held on, and you just took every punch and just kept going, sort of Rocky like in a way where you're like, hey, I'm gonna keep getting up, and I think that's something people who watch these interviews, not half of them don't draw, by the way, the people that watch these interviews, which really surprised me. I actually thought this would just be
right.
for people who love animation. My DMs are like, I don't draw. Like, I've never had any interest in drawing or anything, but I love these people, I love these stories.
So
And
I think I feel like something like, and I don't think it's indicative just to like, or it's not specific to animation alone. I think it's specific to like whatever your passion is.
mm,
Um, like passion is like what I am. I am right next to being stupid. Like passion and stupid are right there. And bro, I've given my whole entire life to this. Like like I don't have another plan. Like there is no other plan. I don't have a backup. I'm not that guy. Um Yeah, I'm all or nothing. When I was in LA, it was like, if I can't get this going, I'm gonna starve and have to move back home, and that is not a motherfucking option. And I
Wow.
say that with absolute conviction. There are no options. It's either this or I don't know what I'm gonna do because I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life. And this is what I love. Like, I grew up on cartoons. Like He-Man, Transformers, Thundercats, like all of this like peak 80s stuff, Star Blazers, Voltron. But then there's
Oof.
Hanna-Barbera, Looney Tunes, like, and then there's the UPA stuff. Like, I have invested my entire career's wages into books, DVDs, supplies, toys. Like, I live, eat, breathe shit and sleep this stuff. Like, it is everything to me. I paint because it makes me happy, and it's an extension of this. It's all like, you have to have conviction. You have to feel like this is who I am at my core. Am I more than this? Absolutely, absolutely. I love human beings as a whole. Um, Not everybody's a great human being, but that's not. There's not a great everything in any subject.
No.
But man, the ones that I've connected with, the people that I've chosen to have in my life, the people that I've given of myself to, that have shown and given back, those were my rewards. Like, I have a family outside of my family,
Mm.
and I don't know that people understand how important community is, especially in this industry. Like, my family helped me get this job. The people who I was inspired by, the people who gave me the hard lessons, the people who went, yeah, you got another rejection letter, so change your portfolio up, try to do it different. Let's pull it apart. Like, we
Mm.
all did that for one another. And those guys, like, I can't tell you how many times I was,
For free, by the way. You pay
yeah,
Cal Arts and you pay all these people exorbitant amounts of money to do what they were doing because they were your friend and they loved you
hmm
and said, "Hey, I just want to do this because I want to see you succeed." And
and half of them weren't working.
wow,
Like we were
crazy.
all like, all we want to do is this.
Right.
If any of us get to do it, like, it was like a pact, if anybody gets to do it, we help the next guy. Um, I can't tell you how many people if I heard about a job at work, I was like, the next session, I was like, I need to talk to you because this is your shit. You need to
Wow.
apply to X, Y, and Z. Or if I didn't know something and somebody knew something, they'd be like, hey, they're hiring on this. You should probably apply. It was great. It was awesome.
Like the
But
the
like,
pre-Discord of its day. I mean,
but
this was like incredible.
right, but like, we weren't like, what, we were all still using MySpace, for God's sakes. It was hilarious.
I mean, and it's incredible too to think like, yeah, like this was like the blossoming of social media,
hmm
the blossoming of internet culture, um, and and like you
Memes,
said,
all of it.
you you gave your address online and
To
said,
strangers.
come on, like please bring, bring your friends, and like that traveled all the way. I'm guessing almost to every corner of the world, and you started just having people just like like moths attached, attracted to the light. Everyone is just just shooting towards you like a magnet,
I
and
mean,
the power of that is so spectacular, and that's what I think I want people to really take away from your story is you don't need permission from people to be successful or to manifest your destiny. You can just do it, and I think that's so incredible where like you basically said to yourself like I want to get to this place and I'm gonna get there no matter what. And to me that's something that you can only truly see in the human spirit. I mean, it's just something that's so. I mean, there's walls that are not tall enough or thick enough to keep you out. You know what I'm saying? Like the industry is a very tough nut to crack, but
hmm you have to be
I
resilient.
I,
You
I
have to be
think
resilient.
I think when you came onto the scene you did it in such a way where you not only set yourself up, to be successful, but to also help so many other people that you didn't know and probably didn't know you, but they could feel that from you, that you were just like them, finding your way in life, finding your way, just like some of the people you encounter today. And I think that spirit is just something that's so magical. And honestly, like, we need a lot more of that, especially in today's landscape where jobs are a lot harder to achieve.
Oh God.
But before I go too far on a tangent, I had asked the question, what was the first week
First day.
like? Like, what was
First.
that
Yeah.
experience? So many of my people that listen to this podcast have yet to get their first job. Um,
Okay.
Let them walk in your shoes for a second. Let them be Shane Corn, my East kid, the
This
legendary.
this this Maze kid. This this shell shocked
Yeah.
poor individual.
Let
I
them walk
walked
in
into
your
the
shoes.
I walked in the building and I had to get my picture taken and it was put on the wall as a new person and I think I dressed nice ish and
Mm,
it kind of stuck with me. Like I feel like as my career progressed, I watched people get like more t-shirt and jeansy and
yeah.
stuff. But I walked in there and I was like, I'm gonna wear nice stuff, and I wore a button-up shirt and I went in and my hair was like short and um it's my hair is in a bun now. My hair is like down to here at the point.
You got great hair, by the way. I'm
Dude.
definitely. I wish I had just a few strands of that great hair,
Oh,
man.
it's a pain in the rear end to keep
You're
up, man.
blessed. You're
The
blessed.
ease of what you have to deal with, believe you me. Um, but so yeah, no, I know. Walked in, I got my name, put my little photo on the wall with the other
Mm.
hombres, and jumped in the elevator, and I went upstairs, and I don't think they even gave me anything to work on for a specific episode my first week. They were like, "We
Wow.
just want you to figure this out. Like, these are the props that we want you to draw. Here's some stuff that C has kind of done. Kind of go over his work, kind of like get the feeling for the style of the show." Um,
Mm.
and I walked in there and God, like you talk about the sound of like pencil sharpeners and the smell of pencil shavings and like there's a
Paper.
weird there's a weird silence that's not the same as it is now. Now there's like
Hmm.
clicking and ticking and shit and then, like you can
Yeah.
hear keyboards, but like back like that job it was like everybody was at like an old Hanna-Barbera desk, the big wooden ones with the light box underneath.
Absolutely.
And you could hear it and we had people actually painting the backgrounds on that show.
Mm.
So like I could walk into the art director's office and she might be like painting one of the backgrounds and then there was a background painter working on some stuff and I
Oh
was
my
always
gosh.
welcome to go and ask people questions. Um oh man, it was
Yeah,
just
because
so
like you're walking into this environment and
I know nobody.
you don't know anyone, and you're
No,
just
I
like,
don't know
hey.
anyone in the building. Like I am like my friend set is not people who work at Cartoon Network. I do not know a single soul in this building. And I walk in and
Wow.
I mean there were people who were on the drawing board and we were like, yeah, I said I worked there, but I didn't know what show they were on, what positions they held. Like I was just in the dark, so I didn't know anybody. I got to be really friendly with like C because he was my like
He's your
co-designer.
guy.
Like I was the prop guy, he was the character guy, and when I was struggling, C was like, "Bring your drawing over," and I would just bring it over every now and again and be like, "I feel like I'm shitting the bed," and he was like, "No, you're doing great." He was like, "This is your problem," and he knew it immediately. He had it, and
Wow.
I would fix it, and I would turn my stuff in, and it was at a time when like you got like 3 or 4 pages of like props and characters for per show, and there was two of us, and it was like, you're the prop guy, he's the character guy, and you had the week to finish what 40 to 60 drawings. Sometimes it was a fork, sometimes it was a broken lamp, sometimes it was a bus with snow on it.
Wow.
Like you never knew what you were going to get. It could be a bunch of really difficult shit
Mm-hmm.
and you still had a week to do it. That's it. Um
Wow.
So I was turning stuff in like every few days, you're trying to like keep up with the flow. You're giving your art director time to like look your stuff over. If it doesn't come back, then it's in their office and it has the little stamp on it that says like this was okayed.
Mm.
Um, I know Joe's office after my first week and my first few months, I was in an office with one of the storyboard artists, um, whose name escapes me right now. Um,
I know it always like
he was so great, but he would go scuba diving early in the morning sometimes, and he would come in, and then he would come in the office and shut the door and lay down on a beanbag chair, and he was like, "If anybody's looking for me, I'm not here right now." And but
yes.
he was also working on SpongeBob, so it was like he was one of those guys that was like that
Oh,
capable and like
like moonlighting.
yeah, he was like moonlighting. So
Wow.
there was a couple people like Antonio Canobio was on the show when I started,
Ooh, nice.
and he's like the head art director at Titmouse now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy would like murder backgrounds. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like I went over and talked to him multiple times, and he would just like fucking like huge like 16 field
Wow.
pages and just murder multiple backgrounds, and he would just like kill it. Like he was so great. And then Paula Spence was also one of the background designers, and
Oh,
I
God.
love Paula. Like to this day, like that she will always have a special place in my heart. She was so kind to me. She always gave me really great advice. Uh,
Mm,
was really giving. I wish I had gotten to know her better, but like I still hold like every kindness that she gave me like really close
mm.
because that was my first job, and I think I needed someone in the office outside of the guy that I was working with all the time to kind of be like, this is your first gig. I was so green. Like I didn't know what to expect. No one
Right.
had given me like a list of rules or like none of that existed. And I didn't know anybody else in the building. So I was literally going to lunch by myself the first week.
Whoa.
I think I went to lunch with C and Eric. I want to say it's Aguilar. God, it's been
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
long. He was our cleanup guy. And
Wow.
but like yeah, they took me out to lunch a few times. C and I would go to lunch on occasion. Sometimes one of my friends would come over and I would like give him a quick tour of the studio and then we'd take off to lunch. But I wish I hadn't kept to myself so much and I'd have gotten to know everybody better, but I was so scared. Like I was
Yeah.
just like if I'm not working, they're gonna fire me.
It's gonna be like the gauntlet's gonna come down and
But I
get
mean it
rid
was
of
my
that.
first job, I was terrified. And like let's put this into actual like let's put some like sense to this. I was 30 when I got this job.
Wow.
Is that right? Yeah, I was almost 30 when I got the job. So I had been trying to do this my whole life and I finally figured out how to do it. And I wasn't a fresh-faced college kid. I'd already done stuff. I'd already seen stuff. I'd already done a bunch of crazy shit in my life. It was,
Right.
it, my, I, there's a joke amongst some of my friends and I, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, the movie Big Fish, the Tim
Yeah.
Burton, with the old
Yeah.
man, and he's like, oh yeah, and he tells the stories. I feel like the old man. Like, that's my life. I tell these fucking stories, and people go, yeah, yeah, yeah. Except now I can pull out my phone and I was like, here's my receipts. And I've got
Yeah.
pictures. But the stuff before the phone existed or any of that, I don't have those receipts. I have different ones.
Yeah.
But like also like yeah, this is my life. This is how it's gone. So
Can I
that job,
ask you something if you don't
sure.
mind? I don't want to like stop this incredible, breathtaking
Go.
story. By the way, it needs its own movie. We need the Sketchbook Sessions movie, and then we need the Shane Horn movie. But
The
um,
sketchbook sessions, I'll give it. I
um,
like my anonymity.
your parents, what was that like? You got this amazing opportunity. What was it like telling them?
Oh, so um, I think I was working for a little bit, and I managed to take. I think I asked for a Friday off,
Mm,
and they were like, "You really need to be able to get your stuff done before, so that you can do that." And I was like, I'd really like to. Like, my parents were living in Northern California, and I was like, I'd really love to like just go see my mom and dad. Like, this is a big deal for me. I've never like I had really not gone home since I'd been down there.
wow.
Like I was grinding, dude. Like I was at like
Wow.
before I got the job and I was working at Starbucks. I got the job at Starbucks because I lived at that store and I was there drawing all day long. If I wasn't painting a mural with one of my other bosses, I was literally at Starbucks around the corner from my house drawing until they closed.
Wow.
I didn't have a space in the house for that. I lived in a house with roommates, and I was like, I don't have a space to do this except for my bedroom, and it gets real depressing sitting in a 10 by 10 room. Um, I remember I took my check stub with me, and I got home, and my mom was really happy to see me, and my dad was really happy to see me, and the first thing I did was handed my dad my check stub, and I was like, "This is what I make a week."
Oh my gosh.
And he looked at it and he goes, "This is a week?" And I was like, "This is what I make a week." And he looked at me and he goes, "I'm not worried about you."
Wow.
And I think my dad was not real good with telling us that he was proud of us to our faces. He told my mom,
Mm,
he told the other, he told my other siblings. He says the same. He used to say the same thing to like me about them. "I'm really proud of your brother. He's doing so good. Your sister's doing great." But to get him to say it directly to you was a little
mm,
tougher than that. Um, I'm super fortunate. Like I will never say that I wasn't. My parents were my dad was a really loving guy. He worked 16-hour days. He drove
oh
2
my
hours into the
gosh.
Bay Area and then 2 hours home every night to provide for his
Wow.
family. My parents never said no when friends moved in with us in high school. So there was like 4 high school boys and my sister living in the house. And my parents were like, their home situations aren't great. Yeah, they can stay. That's fine. That's the kind of people they were. It's part of
Mm,
why I am who I am with my friends. Like, if
yeah.
you need something and I can provide it, absolutely. If you need a space, come see me. You can stay with me. But I remember showing that to my dad and him saying, "I'm not worried about you now." And that was as close as I got to him telling me he was proud of me then. And I think I was like, yeah, I did it. I can do it. And then I immediately got in the car and I drove to the high school and I showed my high school teacher.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, "I knew you could do this." And I was like, "Man, does that other teacher still work here? Because I want to go put this in his face." And I did not do that. Um, but like, but like, yeah, no, my parents were really like stoked on it, and my dad was just like, "So this is where you're gonna be for a while." And I was
Mm,
like, "I don't know. I like this is I don't know. The industry works in weird ways. Um, you know, it works in weird ways. Like we'll see." Uh, then I just kept going, kept going, kept going. We were working on seasons 1 and 2 when I was there. I didn't get picked up for season 3. Um, it's just one of those like I don't know that I was able to keep up. I was super green. I was struggling. I was going through a lot at the time.
yeah.
Um, and I didn't know how to like separate like I need to be here with everything else in my life, and I didn't know how anybody else did it either. Um, but I was and I always will be incredibly grateful, thankful, and just kind of amazed that that was the first thing I got to do. Like I, Joe Murray was one of the kindest people I ever worked with. The people on the staff were amazing. Um, I have really fond memories of everybody. Um, we lost C. Raggio some years ago. It was tragic. It broke my heart when I heard it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. I didn't know.
like yeah,
Wow.
so and things change, um, and I don't think I didn't work again for at least a year. I did unemployment and I was trying to get jobs and it was like a real weird time. Like
Yeah.
Cartoon Network had thought about doing like live action stuff for a minute. They wanted to do like kids live action shows more like Nickelodeon.
Oh, right.
And I was like, what the hell is even going on? And I had the sketchbook sessions to like tide me over. And then every
Yeah.
Wednesday night we were at Priscilla's in Burbank. Uh, a lot of us would go there and draw weekly. That was our normal like hangout. Um, and
That's a great place. Great place.
dude, the stories I could tell about that are just as incredible. Like the
So we
people we
have
ran
two
into.
documentaries we need from you. We have two
Uh,
documentaries at the
I,
very least.
dude, that place needs to have a documentary of its own because I think about all the like
Well,
it's
it's got
down
to
the
start
street from
somewhere.
Disney.
It's
It's
got to
down the
start
street from
somewhere.
Disney. Everybody was always there. Um, but yeah, so I didn't work for a while, and my buddy Matt Humphreys, who, God, he's a brother
Brilliant,
from another mother. I love this guy.
wonderful artist.
Amazing, and also
Yeah.
just I just love him. Like we've been friends since we met. We hung out, we drew. He was there the whole time that I didn't have the job anymore. I was crushed. He was there. He was a friend. He like supported me like emotionally, and like we drew every day together. He was an accountant for movies, and I know that he got an opportunity at one point in time to storyboard on something through on like Wolverine
Wow.
the X for Wolverine and the X-Men, and I was like, you should quit your accounting gig and definitely do this because you're
He was
amazing.
an accountant?
Yeah,
Oh my
he
gosh.
was doing number stuff, and
Dang. So he's
yeah,
really
and
smart on top of being a great artist.
dude, that guy's brilliant. He's
I
brilliant.
am
He's a wonderful human. I love this guy.
wow.
But he was there through all of that for me, and then like he got onto the show, and then it didn't work out for him either, and then we were both like depressed best friends. That's great. Um, but he ended up getting a gig at Nickelodeon Virtual Worlds, which was right after Nickelodeon had bought Neopets.
Neopets.
So
Wow.
Matt calls me and he goes, "Hey, Neopets is looking. Do you know Flash?" And I was like, "No, but I know Keith." So I called Keith and I'm like, "Hey man, can you teach me Flash?" And he goes, "What do you need to do in it?" And I was like, "I don't know." Uh, so
Just
I literally spent like weeks drawing bullshit in Flash, just like going hard. And I'd
what a
already had the
beloved
cartoon network.
program, by the way. That program, I'm guessing it's the Micromedia one, the most beloved version.
I Yeah, it was early stuff, and then
Yeah.
they switched over in the middle when I was there. 4 and 5 when everything you could save and everything would turn black. It was great. Um,
Oh.
I hated that bug. Um, but no, I worked. I made a Flash portfolio, and I went in there, and I'd worked on Camp Lazlo, and I interviewed, and I got the job, and I probably didn't really know what I was doing in the program, but it was mostly doing illustration of the characters or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that was my next question. Like
Yeah, it was more an illustration job than an animation job. But like
animation,
I had a props background, and I drew, and I could color, and like I have good color design, color theory
definitely.
head. Um, and I was there for 4 years. Uh, we worked on a game that never got developed. We did a bunch of stuff like that. That studio was buzzing with projects, and it was just left and right. And um, I met some really amazing people that I am great friends with to this day. Guys like Mike Maglio and people like Dee Chavez and
Mm.
Mike's wife Vanessa. Um, and there were just artists all around me who were just incredible, just like really wonderful people. Um, and it was another experience. You went in every day, and it was the first time that I had to work on a computer all day long, and we didn't have Cintiqs to start. We had the big 12 by
I
12 tablets.
I think I just missed it. The digital, that was like one of the things I wanted to talk to you about too. The
That was the
switch to
flip.
digital.
Yeah,
So that was the actual moment where
that was
because
the one.
we talked about bamboos where you kind of trained yourself. Were you still using a bamboo at this point, or had you already switched to a Wacom Cintiq?
Oh God, no. So I had the 6x9 bamboo, like Intuos is what it was, the Intuos.
Yeah, the
Like
Intuos. There
one
you
step
go.
above that I spent animation money on to
That's
get.
right. Not the bamboo was a small one, I think, and the
Yeah.
Intuos was like the big mat,
So they
like the
came in like
bigger.
2 or 3 sizes, and I had like the
Yeah.
first size you could get that was like 6x9.
Okay.
Um, and I learned how to use that, and that helped me my first when I got into Nickelodeon Neopets. Because that's all we had were the 12 by 12s.
Right.
Um, and it was like and I'd been working on paper and light boxes, like so I was like, oh, now I got to get used to this.
You're
Um, yeah,
like great.
and it was like, all right, well, you better bring your CD player. I didn't because there was no phone. You couldn't listen to your music on your phone.
Right?
So and the iPod had not even dropped yet. I don't think,
Jeez.
or maybe it had, but I just didn't have the
It was
money for an
too it was
iPod
probably
yet.
it was pretty expensive, I would say
Yeah.
when it first came out. And Cintiqs, I remember were like 5 or 6 grand.
Oh
Like
God, yeah. And the
the,
studio wasn't gonna buy one of
no.
those. No,
for
you
those
got
of
it.
you listening and have no idea what we're talking about, so like digital drawing started first where you're basically sketching on a pad. The pad's, recording your drawing, which is then on your computer screen. But if you've ever seen an artist draw, we're looking directly at our drawings. We're almost following, our hand. And then obviously the technology jumped ahead. I remember it actually in laptops because I had a particular laptop from HP called the TouchSmart. Really dating myself there, but that company and also Toshiba had another computer called the Satellite, and they were like some of the first laptops where you can flip the screen, plop it down, and actually have a small, really crappy little plastic stylus. But the Cintiq was sort of the Rolls Royce Ferrari version of that. Um, Massive, you had the 20 plus inch, so it's basically like drawing on a flat screen monitor, and there's no disconnect. You're drawing directly onto the screen. So you're
And they're
able
like
to have it.
40 pounds.
Right. Yeah, you're not
Like a
taking this thing.
It's like a CRT on your desk. It's this huge, heavy. You couldn't put one on an arm because they weighed too much. Like, yeah,
And I
because they
say
just had
this,
the
and
feet.
tell me if this is like your experience too. Was it the first time drawing and the internet completely combined, where it's like now you're on your computer and you can connect to the internet. You can connect to like I remember working on stuff and then also like, oh, let me check my email, or oh, hey, let me check, uh,
I mean, yeah, because I used to have to
Newgrounds or
scan. Yeah, because I used to have to scan my stuff, email it to myself if I was away from home, and then like download from the email onto my desktop, and then post it on the drawing board.
right, right.
Or whatever. And I had a scanner at home, but like I couldn't like I was doing like doodles at work, and I'm like, oh, I want to keep this one, so to scan it, send it to myself. I didn't even have a computer until like the last couple of months at Cartoon Network because my office was
Oh,
just a
right.
desk. There wasn't a computer in there, and when I
No
finally was like, I
computer.
need stuff for reference, they gave me an old Mac. Like it was like the all-in-one, like the color on the back and
Oh,
the
yes, yes.
yeah,
The sort of candy
like iMac
colored
or whatever. Yeah, it was like one of
yeah.
those things,
So
and
when
it was
Steve Jobs came back and like kind of revitalized Apple,
yeah,
and I'd never had a Mac before either. Well, barely had a computer, growing up.
yeah, yeah.
I was in the Microsoft DOS era of like my high school when I took a typing class, which I also famously said to my mom, I would never need to know how to type in my life. Like, who would need that? And my mom's like, take the typing class. And it was actually on a freaking typewriter,
Yep.
so super ancient, but,
And now
you know,
every day we're tick 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 or tick 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 tick
typing,
tick
typing,
down.
so, again, stupid
Yeah.
me, but,
Um. Yeah.
wow.
No. But that was like the transition for me was going from this desk that had been used on Hanna-Barbera cartoons or Warner Brothers stuff or wherever this desk had traveled to and from. It ended up at Cartoon Network. Drawings of Scooby Doo in the desk. No, on me going, who in the hell did these? Like this is amazing. Um. Like just so many like little things that always like had my head wondering. And I ended up over at this building on Brand in Glendale that was really unassuming, and it was on like the fourth or fifth floor. And it's just
Wow.
everybody that was an artist was on one side, and you had your programmers and your translation team and your marketing and all this other stuff on the other side. Um, and so, like,
Interesting.
we warmed up in the morning, you get in, you do some drawing in Flash, you post it on your blog spot. Right. You go over to DeviantArt, make sure it's
Blogspot.
there too. Um, and you just kind of you're like talking to your friends, doing the thing. That lasted for a few years. It was really good. Uh, love the people that I worked with that like made a difference in my life. There's always difficult people at big companies like that. There were some people that I just didn't vibe with, not on the
Mhm.
art team, but in other spaces that weren't as creative. And I've always felt like, those people need to keep their hands out of creative spaces, but they never do.
Right.
And that's horrible. Like
Oh, they love
I'm
creative
always like, I should
spaces.
be really careful about what I have to say, but like, just like, it's just like sometimes people just like I feel like creatives get like put in this place that like we're not smart enough, and you need a smarter. Like I'm like, no, we know what
Yeah.
we're doing.
You
You
need
have
a
zero
chaperone.
concept. Like I don't need you to do this for me. I know way more than you. Trust me. Like you have to. Um, but that ended, and a bunch of us got let go at the same time. They were downsizing the company. I think Neopets wasn't doing great at the time for what it was worth.
Oh,
Um,
right, right.
like they couldn't find a way to monetize it. I think is what the biggest problem was. Like we were trying to make games. Somebody had a friend of ours had mentioned when they were working there before they got let go about like making apps for phones, and they were like, "That's never gonna like happen." And then apps
Whoa.
became huge,
Huge.
and
Took
then they
over
were like, "We
everything.
need to make an app," and it was like, "Well, you had
I
an
want to say
opportunity, but
Apple also stopped supporting Flash. I want to say it was either
yeah."
that or something of that thing where Flash was no longer going to be supported.
But you had to download a, some kind of a thing on
Like a
any computer.
plug-in.
A
Yeah, like a
plug that was
plug-in or
one of the
something.
plugins, and like nothing ever worked. Like just to jump somewhere.
I
It
remember
was this is like kind of pre YouTubey too.
yeah, like I remember like Newgrounds, like that
Hmm.
community was all,
So much crazy
Flash,
stuff coming out of there
yeah,
too.
like
Like just
extremely Flash
beautiful.
based. Um,
But
wow. And again,
yeah,
like I said, having 4 years, I mean, what a run.
and also it was through Viacom, so I had a 401k. I had healthcare. Um,
Jeez.
I was making pretty great money. At
Wow.
the time, I was with my ex partner. She was in school. I got her a summer internship. She worked there with me for a
Oh,
while, and then she graduated and went on to different things. Incredible artist in her own right. We just don't work as people, whatever.
yeah. I again,
But
both you guys
also,
as a team, by the way. I won't mention her name, but like, again, both you guys were phenomenal.
that
Artists,
she is an amazing
designers.
artist. She is an amazing artist, and my my only hopes and wishes these days are I hope you're still making yourself happy with art, with the things that you love, and
That's
that you get to
amazing.
have all of the beautiful things that you want in your life.
Mm,
But I'm seeking that for myself as well. And right now in my life, the creative things are the things that are keeping me going. It's always
that's
been me.
beautiful.
And for like I can't run around and like be angry about life anymore. I've had such a blessed, beautiful, and amazing life so far, and I'm not done. Like I am not done. Like I've always said this. I got let go of Cartoon Network. I wasn't done. I got the job at Nickelodeon Neopets. That lasted for a while. I met people, we had experiences. I built a bigger family, I built a bigger community. I got
Mm.
let go with a lot of people at the same time, and I wasn't done. I went from there and I ended up at Maker. And Maker was this tiny little, like, it was before we had a really nice building down by Sony. We had this crappy little, like, horrible little building we worked in, and it was
Termite
me.
terrace, if you will.
Dude, it was me and Nick Paris
Oh,
and
Yes, I worked with him at Cosmic Toast. We had
dude,
our we had our
Nick
own.
is such a good one.
Did you ever visit Cosmic Toast? I don't know if you
I
ever
never
got a
got the
chance.
opportunity. I
Okay,
never got the opportunity.
you would have been yeah, you would have been very surprised that
It was
we made
I heard lots
it.
of stories.
It was
I
a former garage shop, so like everything in there, like looked like it had been basically in like an auto place, whatever, but completely retrofitted. Tons of artists. The thing I loved about that place is that you had not only like the voice actors, you had like cameras and like live action stuff, and then you had like the artist alley, which was and was beautiful about that. And what a lot of people don't realize when you work in animation, a lot of times you don't have windows, so it's like a casino. You don't know what time it is,
what time
so
it is. Oh shit, yeah.
which I really think is brilliant because they can get so much more work out of you because you have no concept of like light or dark. You're just like there. And
Yeah.
if you were like me, which I think you definitely were, we're like studio junkies, we just
Oh,
loved being at work and loved spending time with our friends who just so happened to be at work. And I think people forget that we became so obsessed with what we did and loved what we did so much. I think, especially now with, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but how the industry has slowed down, and it's definitely a new era today. I think in a lot of ways that's where this podcast came from, was not only um, me trying to reconcile, that particular chapter in my career, which I feel very much like you, like I'm not done. There's still a lot more that I want to do. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I feel like a lot of people who watch this show or listen um, ask the same question over and over, and I'll ask you this question. What would you tell uh, a student who's getting ready to graduate in 2026 if you could sort of revisit the Shane Corn of 2005, early 2000s? Do you have any advice for people today, which, dare I say, it might be even more difficult landscape for jobs than we had to endure? I'm not saying it wasn't hard back in the day, because it definitely
Mm-hmm.
was. Not that
It
there
was a
was
different
like,
kind of hard though.
yeah, it wasn't like due to lack of work, but just due to like crazy good talent that had been there for many generations. Like, we were competing with people who probably had been in the business for 30 years. I'm
Mm-hmm.
and that could also be just as difficult. But today we're like, dare I say, the industry in a way is I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but it exists in a much smaller form than it did. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what could you say to those people, especially the ones who are like, again, going to school? They have dreams of being character designers, storyboard artists, background designers. I get messages from everyone.
Yeah.
What could you say to them? Um, do you have any advice for them? Do you have any pointers or anything that you could give them?
Oh man, that's it's so tricky. Um, like we spoke earlier, and I was telling you, like, I haven't worked since 2023. I was at Bento Box, and I was working on Housebroken as a
Yes,
color
yeah,
designer. I
awesome
love the
show.
environment, the people, the environment. We can go back to that, but like it was great experience. That ended, um, and then my life changed immensely. Uh, I lost my marriage. I lost a dog that I'd had for years, and like over 12 years. I love
Mm,
that dog. It was the only dog I've ever had in my life. She meant
mm.
everything to me. And then my dad passed away. I moved to Oregon, and then my friends were like, "We can't afford our house. We're going to sell this one." And they thought it would be on the market for a few months, and they were like, "Just live in the house." And the house sold in weeks. So
Oh,
like, and I got a job out here. I'm working at a grocery store, um, and it's fine. It's fine. It's a great store. I love it. I love the people I work with. It's Trader Joe's. I'm not embarrassed about it. It's a
no,
full
I
time gig.
love Trader Joe's.
I work 40 hours a week. I love my customers. Everybody knows about my background, so I have a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
Mm,
Um, here's what I guess I would say. If you're coming out of school and you're scared, good. You should be. You should be terrified. You should be shitting yourself. It's not something you should be ashamed of. It's terrifying. The world is scary, dude. And this industry is fickle and it changes on the drop of a dime. But if you really love this, do not give your dream up. Do not. Go for it. Do everything you can to stand out. Um, find your people. Find the people that support you locally, find them online or as close as you can get to them. If you have a set of friends in your area or where you live, or you're graduating school and there's a bunch of you that like live near, those are your people. Connect with those people. Never lose that, because the connections you have in this industry are everything. No one gets the job by going in and just having a mediocre portfolio. And even if you have a stellar portfolio, if that's not the style the show's looking for, you'll get passed up. It's gonna happen. I can't tell you how many rejections I got and how hard it was to take every single one of them. It never got easier. It's not easy when I send stuff off now for a test and I don't get picked. I'm 52 years old and I'm like, shit, I still have to test? And then I check myself and I go, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And it's okay. But don't give up on this. Like, if you really love this, if you spent money to go to school, this is what you want. But guess what? Here's the beautiful thing. This is what's changed. It's not just, you don't just have to work for Disney anymore. You don't just have to work for Cartoon Network or Warner Brothers or Netflix or Sony or like, there's big companies. We all want to work for those places. They offer the big stuff that you want. They offer the best pay, they're union. I love a good union gig. My God. My heart for the union. Thank you all for doing all that you do for everybody always. You people
Absolutely.
are absolute heroes. I wish there was more union work. Um, it's special. And it's a community of people. They all know each other. We all know each other. We've crossed paths. Don't burn bridges. I feel like I've probably shit the bed more than once with people. I feel bad about it to this day. My heart hurts over it. I probably still have people to apologize to. And I
Mhm.
will, because I'm okay being accountable for being an asshole in my life when I was younger and I didn't know enough or I got full of myself or like that wasn't okay. I get that. Let's be accountable. But don't give things up because you're afraid or like I don't know, like one of the things that I always think about is like Walt Disney risked bankruptcy multiple times to make Snow White. The bank
Amazing.
went in and they were like, we're going to shut this whole thing down more than once. And he had to show proofs of concept. He showed pencil tests and then he showed like some color stuff and the banks were then behind him and he got to make the movie. But he constantly put the studio at risk to make movies in the beginning. Everybody who ever wanted to do this had to take a risk. I moved to LA knowing two people and not having a job. That was dumb. That was stupid. It was like, this guy might hire you. That's why I went. That was not
Nice.
smart. I don't have a degree. I don't think it's hurt me, but it also like there's more to like. I would have loved to like have gotten serious and been more educated on a whole lot of other stuff. But I read a lot now. I listen to a
Mhm.
ton of audiobooks now. It inspires more of my ideas and how I generate things. Um, but don't hold yourself back. The world is already trying to do enough of that for us. You're the last person that needs to hold yourself back. Um, I could be talking to myself right now and saying the same things. Like, I've been here for 3 years and I don't know what to do with myself, and I'm in a strange place in my life. Um, I could spin this computer around and you would see a desk full of paints, and I've been making these crazy. At work, I find time to make art, and I cut out pieces of cardboard and I draw something on it, and then um, I have markers and I color them in, and it's a lot of Hanna-Barbera animal heads. So I have like Jabberjaws and
Nice.
Huckleberry Hound, and, you know, and Captain Caveman, Magilla Gorilla. They're all just like, like 7 inches tall by 4 inches wide, and I draw them and I stick them in my back pocket. I call them my pocket pals. Um, I've been known to give them away to kids on occasion. It is what it is. But I make myself happy by doing that, and I'm not like doing it on the company dime. I do it when I have a moment, or if I'm walking from one place to another, I'm sketching on something. I'm never gonna give it up, and you have to be willing to like take the good times and the bad times. I think graduating right now is terrifying. I think it's scary. I think AI and the studios really want to like reduce costs, and like the world's
Right.
in a funny place, and like without getting like overly political and everything, it's just like for me it's in a really strange, weird, horrible fucking place, and I'm like, all I can do to make the world better is to be loving, kind, listening, empathetic, and giving. Um, I have a quote that sits on my wall, and it says, "Show up to love and give to build." And every day I
Wow.
look at that quote and I go, today I'm going to go into work and I'm going to show up and I'm going to love on my people and I'm going to give everything I can to continue to build a better community for myself, for those around me. But not only that, but I'm giving to build my own reputation of who I want to be in my life today.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that I share my art with, where to find and look for my stuff. Like, that's a gift I'm giving them from me when they ask, because I don't openly just throw my webs, like I don't throw that stuff out to people. It's so personal to me at this point in my life that I don't need everybody to know. But if you ask, I'll absolutely tell you. When I first started, I used to make these like slightly larger than credit card size paintings when I got home on pieces of
Oh,
cardboard,
nice.
and I would keep like three of them in my pocket. And like if I was at register and somebody was really, really cool with me, I would like thank them for being wonderful and making my day better. And I'd be like, I'm an artist on the side, and I would like to give you the opportunity to choose a piece of my art for making my day better. And I would
Whoa,
hand these little like 3x4 paintings out.
that
And
is so wonderful.
I have regular customers who come in and they're like, "That's been sitting in my car since I met you." Um,
Wow.
like, and I'm building community here, just like I did for the sketchbook sessions. And it may not be the same thing. It's not artists, but I've met artists here. I've met people who paint. I know a guy who works in 3D who worked on the Transformers movies. Um, I know people from Leica now because it's up here in
Amazing.
Oregon. It's in the Portland area.
I was gonna say,
We don't
yeah,
hang
like
out and draw, but like they've worked at Leica.
give it time.
Um,
Give it time.
and it's great. I'm meeting more people who've like had a stint at Shadow Machine or whatever. But I think it's not about me trying to find the work again. It's just me going like I'm trying to find the people because the work will come if the people are there.
That's right.
Um, but I've been working on becoming a better person as I am, and it's been
Hmm.
really like important. And the art has been so integral to me continuing to like grow and become a little more sensitive to the world and a little bit more open and a little bit more honest. Um, and because of that, I've met all these really cool people that have introduced me to new things. I've always liked anime. I have a friend at work now who introduces me to like every time a new season starts, I get like
Here you
40
go.
new shows to watch. Dude, I will watch a rom com. My friend, we okay, so I'm gonna say this as an American animation worker, we don't
Okay.
make enough slice of life, rom com, or absolute insanity. Like, I'm watching stuff and I'm like, I just watched this one. It's called Wash It All Away. It's about a girl who owns her own dry cleaning business. It's like
Okay.
13 episodes.
Interested?
Dude, I'm in love with this chick. All she loves is like removing stains, making people's lives beautiful again. I'm like, that's so beautiful. I just watched 13 episodes of this. It doesn't. There's no fight sequence. There's no crazy transformations. Um, the story's not like
Wow.
silly. It's not loud. It's just this beautiful story about this person and what they are passionate about. And I'm like, God, I love this. Why don't we do this? At the same time, yeah, I'm watching Solo Leveling, which is all fighting and amazing effects.
Right,
I'm
right.
watching all these other crazy shows, these isekai or whatever. Like, sure, but I feel like I got
Amazing.
so stuck in one kind of thought process, which was like what was made here. And yeah, I watched Fulikuli and Gurren Lagann, and like I had like the old like we all have
Yeah.
that stuff back pocket that we love.
Dead leaves and all the
Yeah, but
real.
but like we get so stuck in like it's just Cartoon Network stuff, it's just Warner Brothers stuff, it's classic Disney, it's new classic Disney, it's like it's coming from everywhere now. And it's
Everywhere.
so inspiring, like it's so amazing. Like South America is putting stuff out that's incredible looking. Um, there's studios in France that are doing incredible things. There's studios in Ireland that are doing amazing things. There's studios coming like the
Wow.
Australian stuff is like insane.
Aust-
It's beautiful.
They have, yeah, they have pretty much, in my opinion, I think they've, helped develop like the next chapter in terms of like figuring out a way where they can do the things they want to do and how to monetize that. with,
Mm-hmm.
I had a student that I worked with not too long ago, and might I add, when people find animation and they are so excited to share it with you. I can only imagine you being at work and one of your coworkers, rushing up to you. Have you seen this? And then they just go into their pitch of like, you got to watch this, and you know, he sends me, just stuff constantly. But
Mm-hmm.
I just, again, like I said, I'm so blown away at what Australia has done. And he would be like waiting for like the drop of like a keychain. They're like, okay, like here's the, oh gosh, now the names are escaping me, but the glitch productions
Oh,
specifically,
okay. Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of the glitch stuff, and he's just like waiting for this plushie to come out. And I'm like, how brilliant is that? They've not only like mastered their art form, but they've also mastered a way to get paid doing it
Mm-hmm.
and still giving the fans even more. Can you imagine watching Batman the animated series back in the day and like getting exclusive like merch drops? You get exclusive things that you can get to further your love for this show. And I think again, the landscape of animation has changed and it's become something completely different. But to see the rise of the independent, see the rise of all these
Mm-hmm.
different countries, not stopping, not slowing down,
But it's
you know.
inspired people here
Yeah,
because now,
yeah.
like, Strawberry Vampire was kickstarted.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. I love
uh,
her
like,
stuff.
Knights of Guinevere's being done by Glitch, and that was like she worked really
Amazing.
hard to make that happen, and that's happening. There's all these people who are like, we don't need or want the studios. We can do this and make the things that we want to make. Whereas when you and I started,
That wasn't.
that's a laughable idea. Like that's some like, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if talk at a party? And then someone going, you're fucking insane. Do you know what the cost on a production is? Now it's like I have three animation programs on my computer.
Right.
I have Moho, I have uh, Animate, and I have some other one. And plus I have the Procreate animation thing on my iPad. Like almost any kid that wants to right now can download Blender and learn Blender for free. And you can make movies with it because people are doing it. People are getting Oscar nominations for stuff and these things. And it's like you don't need a
Wow.
$25,000 program anymore. You can download something for free, and if you're willing to invest the time and learn it, then you're that much further ahead than I am, for God's sakes. I keep trying to learn Blender and dropping the ball. But I also don't have a story right now. I don't have a thing to make.
Right.
I'm just making the things that inspire me in the moment. That's great, but the opportunity to do it on your own right now is so much bigger and more available than it's ever been. And if you could
Wow.
show people that you have a proof of concept, like these are my designs, here are the voices, I have this friend who animates, they did this little piece. You start a Patreon and get enough patrons, you might be able to make like a 3 minute short based on
I
what your
mean,
patrons come up with. And if your 3 minute short makes enough traffic and you throw it on YouTube and it gets enough, you might have enough patrons to make a 20-minute episode and start pitching it and going, here's my proof of concept. I come with an audience.
with a fan base already, which can
It's
still sustain itself, even if it, like back in the day, I would always hear stories where people like, yeah, I pitched this thing, it sat on the shelf for 3 years, or it never went anywhere, it just sat on the shelf. And I think
mm-hmm.
like that never has to happen again. Nothing can ever sit on the shelf anymore because you can just post it. You are the network now, which is a little crazy to think about, but I mean the power is in our hands now. It's just like you said, finding the right idea or just finding that crazy stupid energy that we had
Mm-hmm.
in the early part of our career and just said, who cares, let's just go for it, let's just jump in with both feet and see what happens. um
With If you're not willing to risk everything, then why do you deserve the rewards?
Exactly.
I feel like it's a very old way of thinking, and maybe I'm just becoming an old man. But like you fucking don't get something for nothing.
Yeah.
You have to work for it. And uh, I had a friend who, when I was like really young, in my 20s, who was like he's a great fucking painter, and his stuff was awesome even then. And he was like, yeah, because you don't get good painting without pain. And I was
Whoa.
like, he was like, you can't even spell
Whoa.
the word paint without pain, bro. And I was like, and I used to see that was my reaction. I was like, man, this is some
Are you
like
kidding
crazy
me?
bull. All right, so I paint all the time now, and I'm like, yeah, no, dude, you got to use your like traumas, your bullshit, like it all gets put into it. Um, it goes the same with an
Okay.
animation project or a design project or whatever you like. You have to put your heart and soul into it, and sometimes it's going to take more from you than you realized.
And be willing to
But
fail, be
yeah,
willing to have things like, again, imagine if we had kept every rejection letter that we had ever gotten applying to a studio. I'm sure I'd have a stack, as high as here.
oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, it hurt, but that pain was a good kind of pain because I knew that every time I got rejected, I was getting a little closer. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't giving up. I wasn't quitting. I was just getting a little bit of resistance, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of resistance. And as you said before, you're not going to get something for nothing. You're going to have to go out there and prove that you want to do this. And I truly feel like the universe is listening and it
Yeah,
says, "Hey, this guy really does, believe in what he's doing. Okay, let's see what you got."
yeah.
And I think what's so exciting, especially about this chapter in your career, because the Shane Corn that was working at Starbucks just before Party Network, that's a powerful thing, man. That's a Shane Corn with his back, in the corner, but absolutely sharpening his skill set all the time, and
Hungry, hungry,
hungry,
dude.
determined. So the Shane Corn of today, with that entire lived experience and skill set, I mean, we're talking triply dangerous now,
Well, thank you.
ready to,
Um,
scorch the
well,
earth.
like,
I just, again, like I said, I think it's so beautiful, to just see that spirit, that heart and soul that you put into it. And like
oh,
I said, these podcasts are a little bit of therapy.
mm,
They're a way for me to talk to my heroes and the people that I look up to, because that's something I always get asked, in my DMs. Who do you look up to? Who inspires you?
mm-hmm.
So I'm happy that I can actually interview those people that inspire me every day, and you are definitely one of them. Not just
Oh,
artistically, but as a human being. You know.
oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank
Oh,
you.
trust me, the
It,
pleasure's all mine. Like I said, the
um,
what you've created and what you've developed far exceeds just, great animation or just great artwork. I mean, you really help so many people. Your name has just come up so many times. When are you gonna get to Shane? When are you get to Shane? And I'm like, I'm getting there. Like, just give me
uh,
a second. I'm getting there. You know what I mean? If you could see the amount of people that just have so much respect for you and,
dude,
absolutely just, feel, like they have their own stories to tell because you were so
yeah,
gracious to them and helped them. So like I said, I think that's something to really look at.
yeah,
If you go through this whole career and you just have great work, I think you've really missed the mark. I think you should go through this whole career and have some of the best friends that you've ever had in your life. Um, if you can have some great work to put with that, even better. But,
yeah.
the human part, I think, is
The
always,
human experience, man. That's what creates who we become and who we are and who we will be. Like, I talk about the sketchbook sessions all the time here, and I talk about my people all the time here, and they are my people. They're the ones that I love, and I look back on everybody that I spent time with in Los Angeles and got to know, and the moments that we got to talk at Priscilla's or at my house during a
yes.
party, or um, or we just like happen to run into each other. Like all of that was important to me. It was never something that I was like, oh, well, I just saw Dre's. That was cool. Yeah, what? No, it wasn't. It was like I was always excited when I saw somebody I
Like,
knew.
dude, what's up?
Like it was great. Like we were all trying so hard. We were all failing at the same time. We were all succeeding at the same time. Like I don't look at failure as a horrible or bad thing. I look at failure as the best teacher that I've ever had in my lifetime. Because when you fail, it means that you get to look back on what you did wrong and try to correct it or try to do it differently, or maybe it was just not for you. And it's okay if something's not for you. Like, that's fine. I can think of a number of shows that I tested on that I didn't get. And man, I was heartbroken. I was
Mhm.
heartbroken. Like, I tested for Adventure Time at one point in time,
Oh, wow.
and I didn't get it, and I didn't even get a call back. I didn't get like no one even sent me a rejection. I just didn't get a call, and
Just
I've always felt like that was the rudest thing that anybody could ever do to you in animation, and it happens a lot where you would
like
apply and you get a
the
test
ghosting.
and you got ghosted, and I'm just like, that is the grossest thing that's ever happened to me
Yeah.
because you don't even have the respect for me to call me and go, hey, you know what? I appreciate you putting your time into this, and it was before we were getting paid to do tests, so like
Oh, yeah. So you're
I
doing
put my
stuff
time into it and I tried really hard and no one could even bother to call me and say thank you. Like, I mean,
or
even
like,
if
hey,
my
it didn't
work
work
wasn't
out or
good, yeah, I don't care. Like, just but like
yeah.
have that much for me. Um, but that broke my heart because I really wanted to be on that show. When I look back on it, it probably wasn't like it wasn't made for me. It wasn't
That
like
would have been
I
it. That
don't
would have
feel
been
to sit in
incredible.
that style or whatever,
I
but
don't
it's
know.
fine.
I would have loved to see that.
See, but after that I ended up over at Fox FXX and I worked alongside everybody working on Axe Cop and Golan and like all of that crazy
Oh,
stuff.
I remember that. That
Yeah,
was
and I was over there with like Dan Stone and like dude, I met so many crazy, amazing, talented people in that building. It was insane. And I made more friends in that building. And
mm,
I took my dog to work in that building.
that was a
Um,
great place.
Dude, we did so much cool shit over there. The My biggest problem was like it was non-union and it was like really rough on the paycheck end for me. But damn it, I loved working on that stuff. Like it was great
Sometimes
stuff. And I
I
laughed a lot in that building.
I remember too, like around that time I just got married and
Mm-hmm.
my wife was still very, she works in like software and, like nothing to do with anything creative. And she'd always ask me like, like, how are you picking these jobs? Like, what is the thing? Is it because she's like, this job pays more, but yet you're going with this other job, which pays less? Like, why? And I said, well, sometimes your pay is not exactly just your paycheck. Sometimes it's like more freedom. I have more creative freedom to do what I want to do. I have less
Mm-hmm.
of like the element you were talking about earlier hanging over my head and these group of people who don't draw and don't do anything creative telling you what
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to be doing. And yeah, sometimes it wasn't union. Sometimes you had to go off grid, to kind of get the job that was truly going to be rewarding to yourself, where you're like, hey, I really had a great time working on this, or I worked in the most like insane, like when you talk about like stories, working on Mr. Pickles, in a building that is probably one of the scariest places like I've ever worked, but I loved every second of it. Oh my gosh, every second of the adventure. At that time, I had stopped driving to any job. I was completely the metro and I had an e bike. So every day it was an adventure, dodging, people trying to grab stuff off, grab me or whatever. It was like literally like fight for my life just to get to work.
Yep.
And it was so magical. I mean, it's just so special to have those memories. You know,
Yeah.
once COVID hit, I didn't see a studio, again. I pretty much was working pretty much exclusively from home. Um, and, had my home set up and everything. So, that was great and everything. But you did kind of miss I did kind of miss going to work. I was clearly from that
Mm-hmm.
era where going to work was meant you, like you said, put on your best clothes, went to the job, and did your work, at a building,
Uh,
and so
yeah, I mean,
many.
if you remember, like I would show up at Priscilla's and I was wearing a vest and a bow tie.
Yeah, yeah, you
Like I was
very well dressed.
fancy, fancy as fuck. You kidding me? And I was working at Maker at the time, like and we were making Dino Yacht Club and
I
uh,
remember that. You're very
Broken
dapper. You.
Broken Quest and like stuff for YouTube people and like no one was making great money, but we were working in a building that was like kind of crazy. But man, oh man, the freedom we had, the
The freedom.
conversations that if we had an HR, I never saw them, but man, they should have
Oh
shut that
gosh.
place down. Like we had a great time. We had an amazing time with really fun, funny people, and some of them went on to do really amazing stuff. I worked with
Oh
Sang,
gosh.
and Sang ended up on We Bear Bears, and Sang won an Emmy
Oh,
for boarding. He's
amazing.
amazing. The guy is like I miss and love Sang all the time. He was a great friend and a really great person to work alongside. Nick Paris and I worked together at that place. That's where we became friends. I had such a good time working with Nick. I love that dude. He is one of the funniest and sweetest people I've ever met in my life. I miss him every single day. Like I wish that I hope that when I get back to LA I can connect with these people all over again and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, like I need a hug and I also need to tell you thank you for being part of my life and part of my
Mm,
journey and like making it so that when I talk about my career and I don't talk about it anymore like it's what I do, it's part of my life journey now. I,
absolutely.
I would love to say that I have a future working back in the industry. I would really love to, but like right now, it's just not where I'm at. I don't see the work, and there's a lot of variables. That said, the people are still here. The people are still in my life. I still try to contact people. I still try to have relationships, whatever. But I mean, like, yeah, those people that I met at all these little jobs working on these things where we had insane amounts of freedom. Like, hey, we're gonna do this. We need 30 sex toys for this scene. And I'm sitting there going, what in the fuck do I have to draw in color? And like absolutely mind wrecked. But it was something we did and we got away with it, you
Absolutely.
know? And then afterwards I ended up working for Warner Brothers for a little bit. I worked on some stuff over there. I
Another
like
studio. I wish. Oh, I so wish I'd worked there at least
I
once.
didn't get to work in the
I tested
building,
so
but
many times for
yeah.
Warners and just it never clicked, man. I'm so jealous. You
Oh.
definitely have hit all the best places, man. Titmouse
But
for sure. I think Titmouse was phenomenal. They had some great parties. I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these places will have really nice, parties and things where we can all the artists from every show can get together. I think that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. They think of artists and especially animators or designers as sort of more solitary people, like, oh, we want to stick to ourselves and just be like in this little room, focus on our work. But I really feel like we really need other people, especially in animation. Not just because it's a big job, whatever, but we like being around each other. I love like working on something and being like, "What do you think, man? Do you think this is working? Do you think it's not working?" Like so much of what we do is dependent on the opinions of your peers and in a lot of ways like they can also give you ideas just like you were doing in the sketch sessions. People were giving you feedback, whether it
mhm,
was like positive or whether it was more constructive.
yeah.
I never at any of those sessions ever saw any mean spirited anything. It was always from a place of love and always
Mhm.
from a place where the person wanted to see you succeed, and you just can't pay for that kind of, there's no school that will ever give you that, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
give you that kind of specialized attention, like how you had Ronnie literally sit and reconstruct her portfolio with you. Like,
Oh, I'll never forget that.
I
I mean,
mean,
to this day, I mean, that's burned into my memory. Insane.
like that is just, one of the pillars of just life in general, where you have the opportunity to be mentored by people who, again, have in a lot of ways gone through this like similar pain and rejection, and found their way from wherever corner of the earth they were from. They found their way to their goal and to their dream. Almost
Yeah.
like all of us, on the Yellow Brick Road. We're all on our way to the Emerald City, and it's like, hey, are you headed there too? I am too. Let's
Let's
let's all
go.
go together. you know?
Let's go chat. I'm here for it. So I mean,
Wow.
and it was a super experience. I know that like in 2016, 2017, I left Los Angeles. My partner and I moved to Ohio. Uh, I helped develop a school slash gallery where I worked with adults with disabilities, anywhere from
Mm,
18 to almost mid 70s. And it was strictly art based. It wasn't going to be like macaroni art or like I wanted them to like have the freedom to create the art they wanted to make. We actually like put it out there
wow.
that we were looking for very artistic individuals at the top of the school. Like when the school was in its best space and I was running everything, we had 22 students that were coming 5 days a week. I was teaching painting and I was using my character design. Um, I was doing projects like we would talk about a story. So I would write like 3 paragraphs from a story we created, and then I would do voices for the characters we created. And then I would go, okay,
Whoa.
tomorrow I'm going to bring in the voices, and you have to draw the characters. And I'm not going to show you what they look like, but you're going to have the story we wrote and then the voices that I did. And I would do all the voice work at home, bring it in, play it on the computer, and we'd play it multiple times for everybody. And they'd sit there and draw and draw and draw and draw. And that experience was really great because it took me out of the animation world for a little bit. It gave me a chance to like teach and show people, but it also softened my heart because I'd left LA and I was
Mm,
angry. It was 2017, so like things had just changed. Like we just had a big
yeah.
election. It wasn't great. Everybody was really sad. Um, and I threw myself at that, and that was my art thing. Like I was helping people learn to express themselves, and I got to introduce them to some of the people I worked with through video chats. And I met other artists when I was there. I met this guy Aaron Archer, who was a designer for Transformers Armada.
Oh, wow.
He worked on the toys. So like I was like, holy shit, I collect Transformers, and we became friends. So I have drawings by this guy who designed Transformers toys that I'm like, holy shit, that's crazy. Um, and I found a space there with a local art space, and I made some friends there at a little space called the Hub.
Oh,
We
wow.
I'd go there once a week, and we'd hang out and draw. Um, those kids are really talented. They do art shows every month. They're still doing them. I keep in contact with some of them. They're really like, they're just another set of special people to me. I probably will never go back to Ohio, but it's really nice to know that when I like surfed the surface of that space, I was able to leave a little bit of myself there too. Um, towards the so when COVID came around and we had the pandemic, uh, because of the health and safety of the individuals, I left the school.
Hmm.
We shut down. Um, there's a whole story behind that, but I'm not going to get into it. It's not necessary. Um, but I was like, I need to work. Um, my then partner was working on a show for Warner Brothers, multiple, and I reached out to a bunch of friends and I was like, hey, is there anything happening? And somebody said, check in at Bento Box. And I checked in at Bento Box and I got on Paradise. And I
Wow.
started doing color design and I loved it. And I stayed there for 2 years, two and a
So,
half,
so you worked with Gerardo?
virtually. Um, so I was on the color design team. So I
The
was
wild
working,
man himself, the most
I was working with all
controversial
these
man in all of
people,
animation.
right? Crazy. Um, but I
We
also
love it.
like the best part was like we were all online, right? And I was looking through the through
Yeah.
the through the Slack or whatever it was, the list online, and Tom Riffle, who I worked with at
Oh,
FX's,
yeah.
and Tom and I were like, I think we were
Dude.
watching we decided to watch Dawson's Creek and like talk about it every day. So weird, but like it was so fun, and like I got to know Jessie Seeley, who I love. She was my
Nice.
point of contact for color design. She is my head of the color coven. She is my witch queen. I love
Uh,
her. Ashley, who was our point, God, amazing human being. Love Ashley. Like so many good people were working
yeah.
there. It was,
Wolford as well. I think Wolford too, right? Eric
Wolford was there,
Wolford.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I got to meet Tom Perkins, who like I was a massive fan of. I was
Yes.
terrified to reach out to him, but he did some character design stuff, and I was like,
He's a beast, man. He's a
"Can you
beast.
close off these lines for me? I'm not allowed to do this," you know. And I'm just like, but then I was like, "Dude, I've been a huge fan of yours since like, I mean, that guy was on Men in Black and Godzilla,
Yeah.
like, and I'm just like,
I
you're
wasn't I
one of
was
my
on Men in Black,
heroes."
not his season. I think he had already like left when I was on season 3,
Mm.
but dude, man. I mean, just I remember he
Oh,
had a thing where he would do his kids like lunch. I don't
lunch
know if you
bags.
the lunch
Yeah,
bags. And
yeah.
I thought to
Oh,
myself like, "Oh my gosh, like
these
just
kids are
these like
trading their lunches for Nintendos. Like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
no, man. If you know who my dad is,
it's
this lunch
literally
bag's worth
just
$30.
you
Yeah,
know, here you go, you know. I mean, but oh gosh, you know, I
yeah.
mean, being a dad now, like, you know, again, I'm just kind of like my little girl. She loves princesses and she loves Monsters Inc. And I don't believe in birthday cards or any kind of card. Like, I believe in drawing
Make it.
everything. So for her third birthday, I did a picture of her with all her Monsters Inc. characters around, and she carried it with her for like I want to say at least like 2 days. Like just like
Wow.
carried it, fell asleep with it, holding it in her hands, and I just like love that. I love that we can connect, through art. We can connect through creativity, even though again
Yeah.
she doesn't read yet. You know, she doesn't really have a concept of a lot of things yet, but
Yeah.
like we're spiritually like intertwined, and I feel like the gift that my dad gave me for drawing, I really feel like, whether she wants to do art or not, I'm never gonna like
Hmm.
push her in any direction, but I just love that like it's something we can do together. It's
Yeah.
something that and going to the movies. I'm a big, huge movie guy where I feel like I
Yeah.
really want to support films in the theater for as long as it's going to exist. Um,
Right.
and we went to the movies today. Friday's kind of like movie day, so we'll just go and I think we watched the Minions, the new Minions movie, which was
Right on.
hilarious because it's just like an art history movie. Like it's like literally about the entire history of film. And
Amazing. I love
my
that.
my 3-year-old is just kind of like, huh, not really getting the Orson Welles stuff
Of
or
course not.
anything.
Of
But
course not.
but I just thought it was great that I could sit there and like get a total art history lesson in this film, and just so beautifully done. I love Illumination. Um, and looking at the time now, I have taken up way too much of your time. These are only supposed to be an hour, and again, you have been so gracious with your time. Um,
Oh,
can I ask you
dude,
this
honestly.
um, before we go?
Sure.
How can people reach you if they want to hire you professionally? If they want to just be a part of your artistic journey? Do you have any places where people can find you and you feel comfortable interacting with them?
Um, so so
Do
it's so
you
I'm
want to
I'm
give your address out
no,
again?
no,
Can you please give
yeah,
your
right.
address?
So you can come to my house. I live no. Um
Okay.
I just made that Facebook post too. I was like 25 years ago this year. I invited like a
Good.
bunch of strangers to my house like a
I'll
psychopath.
show up. I will show
Um
up for sure.
but I guess if you want to see what I do, and I post occasionally, like I'm like not really. I draw every day. I fill boxes full of drawings. It's ridiculous. I don't post a lot of it anymore. I post a lot of paintings. I'm posting a lot of these little things I do at work, and like if I do an art piece for somebody, I'll post those. I do have an Instagram. It's just Shane Corn Art. It's really simple. You can find my stuff there. I'm on LinkedIn if you need to hire. If you want to hire me, you're interested in hiring me. If you're not an AI bot, if you're not some kind of like sketchy whatever, like you can find me there. You can find my resume there and on IMDb. It is what it
And
is. Like I'd
it's
love
an
to work.
impressive resume, by the way. Very
You
impressive.
know, These days, I think if I was going to do anything, it'd be props or color design. Color design became such a passion for me in the last,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
like between Paradise, what 2 seasons of Paradise, a season on Farzar, and then a season on Housebroken. Just color design is. I didn't realize that it had always been part of what I did as a props artist because when I was at
Mm,
FXX, I was cleaning a lot up, but I was also coloring it, and I was
yeah.
like, oh God, I was a color designer the whole time. So I love doing it. I'm efficient. I use Harmony. I use Photoshop. I use. If you give it to me, I'll learn it. I'll do it. Um, but you can find my work there. Um, I'm working on a website. I have been for a while, but it's probably going to be where I try to like swing my wares. So since I don't believe
Nice.
in making prints, it'll be all original stuff, whether it be
Oh, even
paint.
better.
It's like I do a lot of paint and oil pastel on cardboard right now because I don't think art should be something that is gate kept for people who have money. I think everybody should be able to afford something actual, like a real piece
Yeah,
of art.
like a real.
Um, like a hand drawn piece or a hand painted piece should not be thousands of dollars for me. Um, like if you like my stuff and you're like, wow, that's really great, ask me about it. Like I have price tags. Like I like making money so I can buy more art supplies so I can make more art. That's really where I'm at in my life. So I have an Instagram that you can find me on right now. I also have a Blue Sky. I think it's probably Shane Corn Art too.
Oh,
Same thing.
wonderful.
I haven't posted on Blue Sky in a while, but you can find me there. And just like,
Yeah, you'd be
be open and,
surprised.
and put it out there in the universe. Like,
Yeah, you'd be surprised who watches these. A lot of
yeah. I mean, if it's my
friends and
people,
friends of
if it's my
friends, and
industry, I'm in
yeah,
my people.
I
Like
love
it's
how a big chunk of this was like just saying hello to a lot of friends and people that may have like you said gone on to different things or been different points in their life, and I like that you're still always thinking of others,
that,
before yourself. That's just classic Shane Corn right there.
that I I have to believe that if we're gonna survive, um, where we're at, that none of us can do it alone. Um, I'm in a stage of my own personal life where I'm living. I'm living in the Portland, Oregon area. I love living here. The people here are phenomenal. Um, they're really sweet, and I feel like there's a sincerity that I wasn't getting in a lot of other spaces. Um, I met a, a couple of my best friends at work. I live with people that I met at work. We share a giant house instead of spending stupid money on multiple apartments.
Mm.
Um, they're creative as well, writers and all kinds of stuff like so. But we have each other as people. When we're having a bad day or a bad evening, we get home, we can sit at the table at night and talk. Or if someone just needs to like hang out, it's a thing we do. One of my roommates was they took art. They were in the archery in USC. They're half my age, and we hang out a lot. And I learned how to do archery, and now I have a whole setup, and we go to the range on occasion. Um,
Wow.
and I have other friends that like I have Thursday ramen with one of my friends, or I have one of my work kids that I take home twice a week. And one of those days during the week recently, we've been walking their roommate's dog at night and just having really long conversations. I think remembering that, like, yes, we love this medium, we love art, we love creativity. Not every single one of my friends is like me, and it's scary because I've always been like very art driven. I'm so in love with reconnecting with human beings as a whole and like going, wow, there's really a lot of beauty in the world and there's beautiful people everywhere. And the kindnesses that you've shown me by being so gracious with the things that you've said, I am absolutely like blown away, and I thank you so much, dude. Like it means a lot to me.
Thank you as well,
I'm
man.
finding that same love here from the people when I talk to them, and I'm like, this is what it's about. This is why I show up to love. This is why I'm going to continue to do this. Um, I would love to work again. It would be amazing. I would love to share. my time, my space, my work with the world again. But I also recognize that I have had this incredible opportunity that I was given, and it was so beautiful. And it's not something that I'm gonna like. I don't like to like jump back into the back seat and sit in the car and go, "Remember when we did all the thing?" Like, dude, it was great. But it was a different time, and now it's a new time, and we have to
Yeah.
make new things. And making new things is not easy. It's hard, but I hope that the kids that are coming out of things right now and the people that are like struggling right now can like sit in themselves for a moment and just go, this might be my opportunity to buckle down and make something. Or I should reach out to these two friends that I have and go, what if we get together once a week and try to develop something together? What if we make something that sucks unbelievably whole? Like, it's just the worst thing that we've ever made. And then we try again, and then we try again, and then we try again. Like take those risks, do those things, take those chances, put yourself out in the world. No one's gonna find you sitting in your bedroom. Um, I want everybody to find like a moment in their life that they can reflect on and be like, God, I was really lucky to have that. I'm
Mhm.
really fortunate. Like I know that I've had more blessings and privilege and fortune. Like I don't know why. Like I ask the sessions crew all the time. I'm like, why is it me? Like what
Yeah.
did you guys like why did you care so much? Why do you love me so much? Why does anybody give a shit? And everybody always says, "Do you know what you've given to us?"
Hmm.
And I never think about it from that perspective because I feel like I've been the one trying to like forge my way in my life the whole time, and I didn't think about the fact that I might have been giving people stepping stones, or maybe I said something that inspired somebody for 5 minutes, or maybe I said something that stuck with you, or
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of us consider those things. And I mean, honestly, some of the biggest stuff that's ever stuck with me have been like conversations with Ronnie when he was helping me put my stuff together. And afterwards, when I thanked him, enough times for him to tell me that I had to stop thanking him. But I'll never stop because it meant the
Never
world
stop.
to me. Um, I'll never not tell my friends I love them. I'll never, like, regardless of the bad times I had at my jobs when things weren't great, there were so many good things that I would rather sit in and remember, and things that we did. And the sessions gave me so many great memories and connections. Like,
Mm.
it wasn't something that, like, everybody always says, oh, but you did it. And I think the best analogy I was given is like, there was a bunch of kids out there who wanted to play a game, and you were the first one to kick the ball and say, let's go.
That's right.
So if you're a kid out there and you're like, I want to play, kick the fucking ball. Throw it out there. You don't have to invite somebody to your house. I don't even recommend that anymore. However, if you have a space, if there's a third space, a coffee shop, a bookstore, um, whatever it is, man. Like if you can find a space and you can invite one person to join you, invite one person, and then you can both go online and share your stuff and be like, does anyone else live near us that wants to do this? And get a third person involved. Just do it. Just try it. What can happen that's bad? Someone will say no. You don't find somebody, so you find somebody online to do this stuff with. Like that's great as long as you can like make the effort. Because if you never make the effort, you'll never see anything happen.
Wow. Amazing, man. Just total goosebumps, like absolutely like exactly like when I literally just again we're like I was just getting bombarded with messages. When is Shane coming on? I said this is gonna be a special one. This is definitely gonna be one of the all-time great interviews,
Oh,
because I knew what
forever.
I knew what it felt like just being around you, being lucky enough to like call you my friend, watching your progress, through the years, I mean, it's truly miraculous, man. And I'm jealous of these people that you work with every day who get a chance to be near that and near
Oh,
that inspiration and that creative magic that you have. I truly hope, and this is going out to all the people you're working with daily at your job. I hope you guys really appreciate that because you're definitely a person that's done so much for so many people, and I'm just so happy that this was a very very small token of appreciation from me and so many people that you've touched. Our lives are forever different, and forever better having known you, man. So I truly love you,
right.
man, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking this time, man.
Well, for anybody who brought it up to you, like for every single person that mentioned me, like
Yeah,
know
stop
that it
messaging
means.
me. I
Please,
got
please know, every single one of you, please know, like,
him.
thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, if you've like any of that, like, I love everybody that ever walked through my doors. Like, there's no one that I have any like hate for or whatever. I just, you know, I before I did this with you, I listened to Axel, and I've known Axel for a long time, and
Yeah.
Eric and Eric worked on stuff that I worked on, and like, and I heard him talking about like Tom Riffle, and I hear Tom's name and I get really excited. I'm like, I love Tom, he's great, and
Nick and
it's
Tom, those
just
are the two. I might have to
you
reach
know,
out.
yeah, but I mean, like, there's so many good people out there, and
Yeah.
thanks for like thinking of me, because I don't know. Maybe none of us do this, but like I don't really think of myself as being someone people think about.
Oh,
I'm so wrapped
yeah.
up in my own like life
Right,
shenanigans.
right.
Like, I forget that I forget that this stuff may or may not have impacted people, and the fact that it did. Um, I'll leave you with this little piece that I just realized like 2 years ago. Um, I was sitting and I was considering my life because of where I was and what I've gone through, and it'd been a little rough, and I thought to myself, I didn't get to have kids, which was a thing that was really important to me at one point, and I was like, um, how how am I going to be remembered without having left someone behind? And I really sat on it, and I was like, what's my legacy look like? Like, they're gonna find this guy's room and it's full of art supplies and art no one has ever seen, and it's going to be like, who was this cat? Like, he was a mystery. But like, that's not true. And I realized like my legacy is every single human being that I have like had a moment with and touched and shared with and given art to or sold art to or shared, or like, I built my own legacy for myself, and I'm so glad that there's other people who have fondness for me, because I have nothing but love and fondness for those people out there that have like entered my life. So the fact that you guys have all thought about me and considered me, it means everything. Like, it means that like I am living on past where I was, and like I will
Hmm.
be thought about if things come up, and like I'm not a forgotten soldier as it would be in the industry. Um, but not just in the industry, but as a human being who met human beings who tried to facilitate something really amazing and magical. And I believe I did that with the sketchbook sessions. It was amazing. It was magical. I had a really fun, beautiful career so far. It's been really great. I hit the pause button for a minute so I could take care of myself.
Definitely.
I'm a better, more solid, I dare I even say it, but I believe I would. I'm a more loving and kind and soft human being than I've ever been, and I'm really happy about that, and it makes me really proud that I can overcome the things I needed to, but also now that I'm here where I am, and I'm like, this was really important to me. When I saw that you reached out, I was like, this is really cool. Like, I definitely want to do this, and dude, I was nervous.
I thought to myself, like, he's either gonna completely shut this down, or I'm gonna catch him on a good day, and he's gonna be
No, I was just, I was just
somewhat amused. But you never know. You never know
no,
because, like I said, people have been through so much in their lives, and um, but I knew like your story in particular was really powerful, And I'm like, people need to hear this. People
Yeah.
need to gain strength from this. And the legacy
Mhm.
that you have built and what you have done. I mean, it's like you said, it's so long lasting, and there's so many people out there that were affected by, um, what you had created. And I'll say it right now. If you need any help putting that documentary together, please let me know. I have tons of free time. As they say, when I put
Yeah.
my daughter down to sleep at night, my wife is like, from now till 2 a.m. is your time. And that's where I edit these interviews. That's where I like, put stuff together. I mean, it's like my little Doc Brown, place where I can just come up with my weird inventions and stuff. But
Amazing.
again, if you need any help on that, putting it together in any way, like I said, I am 100% here for you, my friend. So you let me
Better watch
know.
what you
And
say, dog, because
oh
that
yeah,
shit may come back and you may need
I'm
to be
ready,
on it or
man.
something. Brother, thank
Huh?
you so much for having me. I love you. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. It's so good to see your face. I'm
You
glad
too,
to hear you're
man.
doing well and that your family is healthy and happy.
Um,
Like that
Thank
is so
you.
good, dude.
If you're ever in the Dallas area too, please, like, you got a place to stay, hang out for
Hey,
as long as you want. And like I said, I'm just so grateful that you took the time, took more time than you needed to, by the way. So thank you so much for doing that, man. I really
oh,
appreciate it.
thank you. Hey, you know what? For old friends, I have all the time in the world. I love the reconnect. It's really, really good, man.
Same
Really,
here.
really good. It makes me feel well. So.
All right, I'm
Thank you,
gonna.
though. Appreciate you. Appreciate your audience. Thank you, guys. And I hope maybe a little bit of something you might glean from it might help you somewhere in some way and somehow.
Amen, brother. All